Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to be doing a playthrough of Enormity. This is the prototype that was sent to me by Into the Unknown Studios. I'm super pumped to show you how this game plays and what to expect. If you're interested in seeing what was in the prototype box and a little bit of some of the mechanisms of how the game works, please check out my unboxing video. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. But without further ado, we're going to jump right into this playthrough and see what this game is all about and see if you'd be interested in funding this game as it moves forward. Our playthrough is going to start at the very beginning of this little mini campaign that they have sent out, but if you're interested in seeing a farther along game, a more advanced version of our characters and skills and actions, check out Mike over at the One Stop Co-op Shop. He put out a video where our characters have moved forward in the game quite a bit, where I'm going to be starting from the beginning. Now I hope to do a whole series on this. We shall see how this all plays out. Hopefully we can make it through the Enormity, and if you're excited to see if our characters can survive their trip through the Shepherd, which is the ship they're on, then I need you to meet me at the table. Before we jump into the playthrough, I do want to show you this box. We received this in the mail along with the prototype box, and thanks to the community, we were able to get the lock off. I was not going to open this until we found it in the game, but from what I understand, the code that was on this box itself gave you all the information you needed to open it. It's not something that you're going to find while you play through this little mini campaign. So we're going to open up this box and see what is inside. We just lift these two things up, open it up, and it looks like we have a little sheet here. It's a little flossy little sheet here. That's pretty cool. We also have a 3.5-inch floppy drive with a QR code on it. We might have to see what that's all about. I do not have a 3.5-inch drive, but I almost feel like getting one. See what it's all about. It comes with a neat little token here. I'm not sure what this is for, but we have a neat little token, and then it looks like we have a giant miniature that is part of the game. Now, it looks like another version of the miniature we have in our miniatures box, but this one looks a lot more problematic for our spacer here. It looks a lot more problematic. So we'll put that aside. We'll put the box aside too and see what this fold-out sheet of paper is all about. And hopefully it'll tell us some important information that we might need to know about the campaign or the missions we are going on. All right, so we have For Your Eyes Only. All right, it says here, this is the most important thing. Enormity launches on December 3rd, 2024 on Kickstarter. It's a 1 to 4 player extraction dungeon crawler set aboard the NASF ship, the Shepherd. Players explore rich science fiction open world, scavenging for loot and battling terrifying intruders, including powerful boss type aliens. With a focus on deep lore and modular campaigns, the game offers endless replayability through engaging narratives and Metroidvania style exploration. Of course, there's one giant big word at the end I can't pronounce. All right, that is pretty cool. Let's begin our playthrough by reading our mission log. NASF Coventry, time undetermined. Commander, fluence recording. We're screwed. Well, let me start over. Situation is foobar. Science assured me the Shepherd could not make another singularity point jump. It just did. So much for the fancy tech. How much did it cost, by the way? How many corners cut to finance it? Now, we have no idea where we are, how far from origin we are. Don't know where we're headed, but we're headed somewhere. The Shepherd continues on some predetermined flight path. The status of the Coventry remains unknown. As the time of this recording, we're stranded on the Shepherd's decaying bow solar ring. The jump broke something inside the ship, and the outer manifold's fields are failing. When it jumps again, and it will tear itself apart, tear us apart. We're proceeding toward the elevator, but listen, there's something here with us, a presence. I know how it sounds, all right? But it's here. It burns at the corners of our eyes, makes us see things, black things moving in the ducts, in the wall crawl spaces. What even tore these ISO panels? And the thing is, the solar ring is all right. And the power flowing, do you understand? We're stuck in the void between origin and whatever terrible place the shepherd is carrying us to. There is no star here. Where does all the darn light come from? We need to get the heck out of here now. At this point, we're going to move into setting up our spacers, and then we'll move into setting up our actual mission. So here is one of the spacers we have. This is our science division, Aubrey. Every character has kind of their own name. Each character also has a set of stats, which are going to be found up here on the top part of the card. The ones you're seeing up there are dexterity, intelligence. Sorry, this is intelligence. This is dexterity. This one is strength. This is willpower. And the last one is perception. If you're ever told to make a check, you're going to roll white dice and have to equal to the numbers you have here. They all start at 2 and 1. Of course, your characters, as the game goes forward, is going to become better. In theory, some of these skills may become better. Also, you might find items or different suits and things that add to these specific bonuses to these attribute tests as you move through the game. Every character is going to have an ability. The ability here for us is that we can, if either the incoming or active pool is empty, I can gain stress to place any 2 spacer tokens there, and I'll talk about stress in just a second. We do have an ability. I can use this particular token, and it says I am not a medic, so an adjacent spacer I can gain 2 health. If your health ever falls to 0, of course, that is an end game for your character. Now, you do have to control 4 characters, whether or not you're playing with 4 or less. If you're playing with less, you just divvy them out amongst them. If you're playing solo, of course, you control all 4. And from what I can tell, I don't think it's going to be monumental to control all 4 of these characters. We're going to place our character back into the area here. Then on top of that, every one of our characters is going to have a different space suit. This is our starting space suit. I can use this particular token to make another spacer stand up if they fall over. The things you're seeing down here, this is your light source. Every character comes with a light source. It has a 2 range. Range is always found inside of these like circular things with a number in them. This is going to show you what color dice you're going to roll when you are using your light. This shows how many things you can hold in your backpack, and this is how many things you can have equipped to your specific space suit. So we'll put that down here. Now, if you notice, these all line up, and as you play through the game, you are going to be performing actions. What you see down here is your health stat. This is a 9. We start at 9. So if I ever did get to 7, I could use that ability to help an adjacent spacer, so not yourself, but another person gain 2 health. This is stress. It's going to move up here if you do particular actions or things that happen in the story. If those 2 particular lines cross and go past each other, you're going to have to deal with a stress breakdown. Once you survive, if you survive the stress breakdown, you may get a little extra bonus for having dealt with the stress. But for now, we're going to start our stress point based on where it is here. So it looks like it's going to start on the second space for her. She must be a little stressed just coming in. She is science division after all. This right here, this is your adrenaline meter. Some of your actions, for example, this one right here is going to be an adrenaline action. You're going to move this up. And as you're moving it up this track, it's going to be giving you tokens. So at the first stop, there's nothing to gain. But if you move to the second spot, it's going to go past this particular one right here. And after performing the action, or when you perform the action, you're going to add tokens equal to whatever is behind the line. So for example, if I use an adrenaline action to go from 4 to 5, and I'm going to leave my stress back here, I would be putting all 4 of these different types of tokens into the pool. This game is very similar to Aeon Trespass Odyssey, where it has like this, they call it an inverted system, where as you get more damaged or you gain more stress or you gain more adrenaline closer to the end of your life, you're actually going to be performing better under the stress and the adrenaline that is pumping through your body. All that epinephrine is flowing through your body. You must just be injecting yourself with epinephrine as this goes up, because if you ever get to 9, that means you are dead. Your heart explodes. You had too much too much epi in your body. It's pretty awesome. So you're going to die if you get to 9. Don't do that. Now, there are some actions that are going to be able to resolve some of these particular things. Now, of course, there aren't any actions that just automatically heal you. She, of course, does have one that helps other people out. Now, on top of that, we are going to gain certain items at the start of the game. We have 2 different weapons. We have 2 different weapons here. One is the orbital survival knife. The other one is a pistol. These can upgrade. They don't have the stats for them. They come in the full game, but you can upgrade these. This right here is showing you how many dice you're going to roll. If I had 5 or more adrenaline, I'd be able to add more dice. dice. So you do become more like, and you would become more panicked and more in tune to knowing that your life is on the line. And you do everything you can to try to survive this. This is going to be your range that you're going to see here. So for example, the pistol does have a 3 where this is a melee weapon. This is interesting. This is the critical thing. So as you are fighting and you're rolling the dice, you may come up with some of the symbols on the dice that have that little red mark on it. Then you'll see them as I roll the dice and do different actions here. If you're ever able to fill this up, if I were to get 2 more, let's say for this one, I would fill that up. It would be a critical hit against the enemy as opposed to just a normal wound. Some have ammo, and it's found here. I've put 3 ammo down for our gun, and they all do have some keywords here. For example, this one has devastating. This one is linear, discipline. I can empty the clip by playing this particular token out of the active pool to deplete the remaining ammo and give myself an extra success. These lines are successes. You'll see how that works when I start rolling the dice, but I just want to show you kind of what we have. The other thing down here, it shows you how many hands, 1, 2, 3, or 4 hands it takes you to hold. Now, yes, normally your human characters here are not going to have 4 hands, but I'm guessing as you go through the game, you may mutate, you may gain more arms or something, or you may have a suit that has arms attached to it that allow you to hold more items and weapons as you go through the game. Now, our basic AV suit here can only equip one particular item to it with this symbol down here. So we are going to be equipping this one for the time being. This is our rudimentary scanner. I can interrupt by using one of these to lower a blip's move by 1. You may lower it by 2 instead if I'm critical or something with the heart. I'll have to figure out. I'm not quite sure what that means, but oh, and by the way, everything you see here is prototype material, including all the rules and all the things that are going on in this game. All the different components are all going to be prototype. So this may change moving forward. So, and also know that I am going to do the best with the rules in the game as I can, but I may make some errors based on the prototype status of the game. So do bear that in mind as I go through, but I hopefully am able to give you a good idea of what this game is. So if it's something that interests you, which I can already tell you it's going to interest me, this game's super, super cool. Now, she also comes with this as well, the stim injector. I am going to actually put this in my backpack. Remember, I can hold up to 3 items, and every character does come with a standard multi-tool. Corbin Dallas multi-tool. No, it's not a Corbin Dallas multi-pass, but it still want to be fun to say. Okay, we're going to put those down there. That's her. She is all set to go. I am going to move a little bit faster with these other characters because I've kind of gone through it, a lot of the things you see here. Also, every character does have a miniature. They aren't specifically assigned to a character. You get to choose kind of what your character wants to look like. So I'm going to use this crouch down one as our science officer. We have our engineer. Our engineer just kind of has this little, like, I don't know, plasma cutter here or something, just kind of doing stuff. So he's going to be our engineer. The engineer is pretty much the same as our science officer when it comes with the type of weapons and stuff he starts with, but he gets this as well, which is going to allow our light dye to go from a white to a red, which is going to help us be able to see some blips, hopefully before they can get to us. The suit is exactly the same, but he does have a little bit different stats up here, and he does have different stats up here where he can put different things into the pool. Now, of course, I haven't mentioned what these do. This one particular token allows you to re-roll dice. When you re-roll dice in this game, you have to choose all the dice you want to re-roll at one time and then re-roll them. You can't just pick them up one at a time and re-roll them. This one is allowing you to gain successes when you see potentials on a die. I might as well show you one since I was talking about these things. This is what is called a potential. This is a success. This line is a success. And this is that critical symbol I was talking about earlier. There's also half successes as well, which is the half line. If you get 2 of those on 2 different halves, you of course make a whole, which is fantastic. So you can use these to turn potentials into full successes. And the last one is expertise, which, as you noticed, is on some of our items and also on some of our characters. We can spend those to activate those particular things. I didn't mention, but the top 2 are called confidence, which these are right there. Those are called confidence, and this is discipline. Those are the different types of what exactly those particular symbols are called. And of course, we're going to be seeing tokens like those being placed into our pool for for incoming and active as we play through the game. And he does have an expertise ability here. An adjacent spacer may perform a fast reload. He also has proficient analysis. If either the incoming or active pool is empty, I can gain a stress to place two of these confidence tokens into the pool. Continuing on, we now get to some of our more stronger characters when it comes to actually fighting. The other two are very good at support and being able to deal with things on the ship. This is our ops division. I can spend two of these different expertise to move another spacer one space. He's able to put expertise, or sorry, she's able to put expertise into the token pool if I want to. This character does have a more powerful weapon. This one is shooting with red dice, and it also gives you a free confidence token to be placed in there. Now, there isn't a bonus for having a lot of adrenaline. It only has one on the critical, so it's really not going to critical anything, but it is going to be able to probably put some mean down, hurt down on these enemies, because the white dice are the worst, red are second, and then the black ones are the best. So red is actually pretty good to be rolling. It has 4 range as well. And it can do a burst too, which means I would spend both those to be able to fight at 2 different enemies, I believe. And then, of course, one thing I didn't talk about is that when you do fire, you're going to cause noise, and I'll explain how noise works once we get going, but you'll be rolling dice, and that's what moves some of the blips around that could potentially come to your characters and kill you. So the more you're firing and shooting at other bad guys, more of them are going to come. Kind of makes sense. There are also some other tags here: confidence, heavy, and linear as well. So there's a few extra things for that gun. This one, of course, is a suppressive grenade here. A suppression grenade. Target intruder on the adjacent space and cause 2 suppression to it. What suppression does in this game is it lowers the enemy's speed. It also lowers their, I guess you call it defense. They call it anatomy threshold. AT value is what they call it. And you'll see some of that once we start seeing the bad guys. Also, suppressed intruders will not perform attacks of opportunity if they have the ability to do that. So when this one does fire, it will roll its 2 dice. If I do not reach the anatomy threshold and are able to wound and destroy the bad guy, I'd be dropping 2 suppression tokens onto it, making it easier for somebody else to probably take it out, and also be able to get myself away, and hopefully it can't catch up to me. We'll see though. Okay, that is this character. Let's move on to the next one. This is our final character. This is Papa. Papa is a member of the security division. It has the same gun as our last character. The only difference that this character has item-wise is it has a standard communication system here. It can warn somebody as the game goes on here. He has 2 different abilities here. One of them is he's kind of able to provoke some of the blips to come at him with being able to roll 2 white noise dice and saying, "Hey, ugly," which is kind of funny. And then just like some of the other characters, this person can take a stress to add 2 different tokens, 2 of these tokens to the discipline token, to the active pool. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is everybody does come with 6 cards. Now, these are 6 individual cards, but they've been put into sleeves to be looking like dual-sided cards. But these are 6 individual cards. When you start your game, you're going to take the 6 cards and put them into the 3 sleeves in any way you want. Now, the way I have them set up is what is told to me to do in the game, but as you play through the game, you can swap these out and put different ones in there. So, for example, if I didn't want to have this hurried walk with the anxious sneaking, I could switch that. I could put the 2 walks together, the 2 sneakings together. I could even take this card, which is our adrenaline card, which is going to allow us to perform actions, and also be able to allow us to do almost every other action we can on this. That would allow us to potentially do 2 of these adrenaline actions a turn if we wanted to. But the game tells me to put these together, and you'll see how these action cards work once we start playing. With our characters set up, it tells us to take the Dark Side of the Sun demo card 1 and flip it over and read it. It says here, Flashes in the Dark. Set up Open Location Book 1 on page 3. Then open the Mythos book on page 4 and follow the Dark Side of the Sun demo setup. The last jump broke something inside the shepherd. The solar ring you're on is falling apart. You need to get to the radial elevator before it collapses completely. You hear something moving in the ducts. Wet smacks, knuckles cracking. You need to hurry. Turning to page 4 of the Mythos book does show us exactly how to set up our mission here that we're going to be on, and it gives us like a victory condition, all the things we have to know about for our engrams, which I'll talk about those as we play through the game. Also, it tells us about the location cards we're going to use and how to set up everything, including where our blips are going to go, where our characters are going to go, and where any of our different tokens are going to be placed out on the map. Let's quickly look at it and I'll show you what I mean. In this particular mission, we have set out here some of these tokens. These are going to be tokens we'll talk about in just a second, but the other ones I want to talk about are engram tokens that are these right here. There's 3 different ones out on this particular map. These are going to be things you can use as a kind of an instant use during a mission, or if you take them out and you're able to extract with them in your possession, you can turn them up and use them for materials that are going to be able to help you craft new gear or gain new abilities or anything else that would have to come for that particular step. This is going to be a cache, which we're going to pick. We're going to grant different items and weapons from if we use an ability to grab things out of that. These are blips. You're going to see them. They look like this. There's a whole stack of them off to the side, or I should say a pool of them. If you notice, there is an arrow on these. This is going to come into play when you have to move these blips around. This one is facing that way. This one is facing down, and this one is facing in that direction right there. So if you have to move a blip not towards a character, you're usually it's just going to go on a patrol. And I'll show you the little track here in a second that shows you the amount of turns you have. And based on where you are on that turn marker, these blips may act a little bit differently. The last thing out here are these discovery tokens. These discovery tokens are preset tokens for this particular mission. If once we get to this and we end an action on there, move action on there, we reveal that particular card inside of our deck of cards here. These are going to be the cards that we're going to be revealing as we go through the game, learning a little bit more about this particular mission, maybe the shepherd itself, maybe the enemies in this particular part of the board. Now, in other missions, if you're doing maybe a generic extraction of some kind just to kind of gain some materials or thing, what you're going to find is these discovery tokens do have a backside, which are question marks. So if you're not particular on a specific mission, it may tell you just to put out 4 of these in upside down or something like this in question mark order, and then you're going to reveal them, and then you're going to see that it's number 5. Well, the number then may not matter. What you're looking for is the color, and each one of these colors is going to symbolize your ability to uncover lore and data from this ship. That's going to give you insight into the area of the ship you are, the type of enemies you're fighting, let's say, or even maybe things about new equipment or something that you haven't heard about on the ship that maybe will open up new areas to go see as you play through the game. There are also a few doors here that we'll have to figure out how to open. And if you notice, there are parts on this board that are empty. They're empty because this particular mission does not use these. And in future missions, you may come back to this part of the ship, and maybe this is now filled with a discovery token, but this one doesn't have one. The board is able to be used more than once because you're going to be exploring the ship, and other parts of the ship may have the same kind of setup as this. But see, you notice a locked door up here. Well, I don't have an ability to go up there. There's not yet. Maybe there's something that opens it, but if not, this may open in a later scenario that gets you the ability to go up into that direction there. So you may be coming back through here, maybe find this discovery token if you come back through here this way and open that and move into another part of the ship. 2 other things we have to set up is our track. You're going to start on the 9, and we're going to move through this track. And as you can see, you're going to see white, red, and black. Those are the different, I should say, you could say difficulty levels, or it could be that the monsters themselves or the ship itself is starting to realize where you are. Like at first they don't really kind of know where you are, but then they're going to realize something's going on in this area, and the monsters are going to become more in tune to try to find you. And the black area is not only the monsters are going to be able to be attuned to find you, but even if you get to here, this is called the 0 hour. If you get to the 0 hour, even some of the boss monsters in this area of the ship might come out and start chasing you around, and you can't take one of those boss monsters out when you're in this extraction area. Well, you could try, but it's probably really bad. Now, the other thing I had to build is we had to build our solar ring loot deck, and that was in a secret envelope. There are secret envelopes that you're going to have in this game. In this particular one, we have have the Solar Ring loot deck. We also have the Embers Burn Bright. We don't open that one yet. The Secret Stickers. We have the Crucible of Flames, and we have the Temple. Don't open until told to do so. So we have some special hidden envelopes that we're going to have to use, and this was one of them. So I don't know any of the things in this deck, so it'll be really cool to see some of these. Now, if you notice, some of the discovery tokens are even on top of our track. As it moves down, we're going to reveal those. And these are blips. These are going to be extra blips we're going to be putting out onto the board. So it started with 3, but now we're going to get more as the game goes further, because of course we're being pushed, and the monsters and the ship itself knows that we're in this area, so it's sending more and more people there to try to deal with us. Speaking of monsters, we're going to be dealing with the Grin in this particular scenario. The Grin are these like evil, these weird, yucky looking guys right here with these mouths that are super long mouths that open up and try to eat us. So hopefully we don't get eaten. Now, if you notice, there are arrows on these too, so facing does matter in this game for particular things. The Grin right here, what you're seeing is their particular card. These are different traits that they may gain as we play through the game, or certain ones may get those. Not all of them are going to gain them, but some of them may gain them moving forward. Up here, you're going to see their stats, and they're going to become stronger as you move further down that track. So at the beginning, we've got 3, and a white dice. So the 3 here is its movement. This is its anatomy threshold of 3, and the white dice is what you're going to roll when you're going to see what type of die you're going to roll when checking for noise. This tells you to use a white die, so we'll be using a white die. Now notice when you move into the red area, you're still using a white die, and when you move to the black, we're going to be using a red die. So it's not just the same, as you're moving, you're not just going to be rolling the dice of the color of the area, so it could be there. Over here, first contact, the first time we encounter one of these particular enemies, we're going to have to deal with that. Then we come to an overwhelm. If you ever have to roll dice and you don't have enough dice to be able to roll for the noise of these particular blips on the board, you would have to resolve this particular area. For example, if we have to roll, let's say 7 white dice, and we only have 6, because these dice are finite. So we have 6 dice here. If we had to roll a 7th one, we'd actually use a red one. But if we got to the point where we had to roll 4 black dice, let's say, we don't have a 4th black dice, you'd have to deal with the overwhelm then. But I don't think it's going to happen to us, because we don't actually roll black dice for noise, unless something changes as the game goes forward. The behavior of the enemy is shown here. You're going to deal with this behavior moving an AI step down the line until you're able to resolve one of them. Unless it tells you otherwise, once you resolve it, you're done with that particular enemy. Down here is what's going to happen when you wound or critically wound the monsters. And once you do that, you're going to remove the monster and do what it says down here. Now, most of the time, the single enemies are going to be only having about 1 health. Going forward, you might find some that have more than that, but that's what they are. Now, the boss, of course, is a completely different beast, and it's a completely different setup. It reminds me more of like a Aeon Trespass boss fight. It has that kind of system where you're putting in different cards based on how much damage you do to it and things, and hopefully you'll see that in my next video. Down here, like I said, are cards that are going to interact with them. Right here, as you can see, it says full game only. There are going to be level 2 monsters. These are only the level 1 Grin that we're dealing with. There could be a level 2 as the game goes forward. Each enemy you come across does potentially have some traits. For example, this one is light sensitive. I can scout a revealed Grin. Normally you just scout the blips to see if there's anything out there, but for this particular enemy, I could scout them, which means I'm basically shining my light at them. And if I succeed, I can move them back 4 spaces away from me. They're also pretty terrifying. I don't know, I'd be pretty terrified too if I ran into one of these guys in Dark Alley, let alone a dark area of the ship. Be even more terrifying. If that's the case, if you're attacked from an adjacent space, you're going to gain 1 stress. The last few things we have to set up is I've grabbed the rest of our cards we're going to need. These are the stress breakdown cards that we explained a little bit earlier in the characters. These are the flatline cards. If your character ever runs out of health, they don't die. You're going to draw a flatline card, and then you're going to see if your character has survived or died. These are the different types of conditions that our characters can gain throughout the game. You're just going to draw the condition it tells you to and place it down next to your character and have to deal with it. We have our discovery deck that we're going to see when we move through all the different discovery tokens that we find. Also, we have Xenoscript cards. We may see those, I'm not sure. These may help give us more insight on the enemies or potentially the ship itself. And these are kind of the big scenario cards that we're dealing with as we go through the game. Here's a few more cards. These are going to be our scanning cards. You're going to see these in effect as we play through the game. Based on where we are on our track of our turn, we're going to be drawing one of these on the enemy phase, and that is going to show us where exactly these blips potentially could start moving from. Here's the basic weapons we have, and these two tokens we may see as well. This is the extraction token that we need to try to get on the board. Now normally this potentially could be hanging out on our track that has to do with our turn, but for this particular scenario it told me to take it off. This token we'll be using a lot. This is going to symbolize who is the last person who has made noise on our team, which could potentially move enemies or blips toward that character. Over here we have our stack of tokens we're going to be placing into our incoming and active piles. Of course, as you put tokens in, you cannot use the ones you place in here. They'll be in the incoming. You can only use the ones in the active. We do have a couple stratagems. Now remember, we saw some of the characters that are able to place these particular tokens into the pool. If you don't use your expertise tokens at the end, you can place them onto these particular cards here. This one, for example, is Morphous Protocol. Activate, flip this card when there are 6 tokens on here. Once it has 6 tokens, we get to flip it and see what it does. Hopefully it does something really, really good. Also, it told me to place this card here. I can reveal this card when somebody causes 3 noise in a single die roll. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I'm going to guess that's not going to be good. Having got everything set up, let's return to our scenario card here. It says we have a main objective. The elevator should be somewhere ahead. There, where the light flickers. Find access to the radial elevator. When you enter a space with the connecting location symbol L2P2, C112 in the Mythos book. Discoveries. When you enter a space with a numbered discovery, remove the token and resolve the corresponding card. Ignore all other discovery spaces. Then here's our anomalous reading token. These are the ones we saw on the board. This is a secondary objective. Light is playing tricks on you. There are things in the walls or possibly in your heads. You need to make sure it's one or the other, or it will slowly drive you mad. There's a faint locator fob signal on the tracker. Should you check it out? When you enter a space with an anomalous reading token, use any spacer token to perform a scavenge action to pick it up and roll a black die, adding +1 for each previously picked up anomalous reading. If you get 5+ successes on the roll, or investigate 4 anomalous readings, see 137 in the Mythos book. So of course, looking at our board, there are 3 out on the board at this time, 1, 2, and 3. Now it does say we need to get a 5+ on a black die. The black die's highest roll it could possibly get, I believe, is 3 successes. I think it's 3 successes. So I would have to pick up at least 1 more in order to even have a chance at it, because I get to add 1 for each one of these I pick up. So I would get 3 + 1 is 4. It's not going to make it. So I'll have to maybe pick up a couple of these to see what those anomalous readings are. Of course, our main objective is to try to find that elevator, which, if anything, our objective is to find this token and get it out on the board and get out of here. That's going to be our plan. Now, of course, we have, at the beginning of our turns, the first few are going to be pretty much us just kind of exploring this ship a little bit. But as that track starts moving, that's when things start heating up, and we're going to get more blips out there, and we're going to have to try to run for our lives. So hopefully we can fend off these Grin and try to find that elevator out of here. Let's begin our first turn. This game has 3 different phases when it comes to a round. The first one is the countdown phase. That is where we are going to move our token down the countdown track. Also, that's when we're going to resolve any cards or any tokens on this countdown track. Now, for the first turn, we do not move it. So we'll place our token down on 9, and then of course we'll slowly move this down as the rounds go forward. At this point, we're going to move into the spacer phase. This is the main part of the game for the characters. In this phase, we're going to start by clearing any action cards that we have played. Of course, we haven't played any yet. And now we're going to play our action cards and resolve them one at a time. So we have our 3 action cards here. Some of them are movements, and some of them are going to be adrenaline actions. So we could, for example, use either one of these to move to 2 spaces, one would gain us a stress, but one would make us roll for noise. The other option is to use the cards to either fast reload, which allows you to put 1 bullet in your gun, not a full magazine, but 1 bullet back in your gun, unless of course they have the heavy tag. I believe if they have the heavy tag, you're not able to do a fast reload on those particular weapons. The other one is I could spend, and of course in order to do that, I do have to spend my expertise tokens, which we don't have any in the pool at this time, but if I do want to, I could spend an expertise to reduce my stress by 1. The other side of the cards are going to be other move conditions. I could move 3 spaces, but that would cost me a noise roll. And if preceded by another walk, gain a stress to give myself 1 of these tokens for my next melee attack. So if I want to just run up and hit something, that'd be the way to do it. Now this is a cautious sneaking. It's going to be able to make us move 1 space. If not preceded or followed by another move, I could spend this again to and a stress to gain a fast reload. So at this point, we want to move, I think, 2 spaces, but I don't want to do any noise right now. So I'm going to play that for 2, raising my stress by 1. Now the stress doesn't put any of those tokens in my pool. It's the adrenaline actions that are going to do that, which actually I am going to play an adrenaline action as well. Now normally I would play these 1 at a time and I would be performing those actions, but for recording purposes, it's easier for me to put out of the 3 cards and then show you what I do. The last one I am going to do is we are going to then move 1 space. So those are going to be the order on what we're going to do things, but again, it's not a programming game. You're not programming your actions out and then doing them. You're playing them 1 at a time. I just am playing them like that so for ease of recording. If it would make a difference, I would then do them 1 at a time and play them 1 at a time. So let's go check out what our Science Division character, Aubrey, is going to do. Aubrey is right here. She is going to move 2 spaces, which is going to put us on top of 1 of those tokens. Now remember, we're trying to maybe collect some of these anomalous reading tokens. It's not required. It's a secondary mission, but why not give it a shot? At this point, we're now going to perform a scavenge action. Now I kind of wish they'd change this to maybe just an interact action, because the scavenge action has a tendency to do a lot of different things, like interact with that object. It would scavenge these 2 particular things here, but I think you could just interact with these and pick them up or open them up. The nuance of wording is the only thing here, but I kind of wish it would have been an interact action. But for this particular one, I am going to interact with this or scavenge this with my character. It is an adrenaline action, and we'll move back to our character to adjust our adrenaline track in just a second. But after scavenging, I do have to roll a black die. We'll try to see if we can make it onto the board without ruining any of our characters here. And I get to add 1. Oh my gosh, look at that roll. That'd be 3 successes. I believe these are successes because this would go all the way across. It just happens to have the symbol there as well. This is an absolute bonkers roll. Look at that. These potentials could all turn into successes if I were to have any of these in the pool. The disciplines, I think they're called discipline tokens. Then I could have turned those into successes if I wanted to. But that's not what we're doing here. We're just looking for successes in particular and adding 1 for each one of these. We got 4. We needed 5 in order to complete our mission here. We did not. So that is the end of that. With our last move, I'm going to move on to this particular space. It's a discovery space. Since I ended my turn there, I am going to resolve this discovery token number 2, which is going to be a card. But before we do that, I am going to move my adrenaline track up 1, putting 1 of these into the incoming space. So I'll place 1 of those into the incoming area. And now I'll resolve card number 2, the discovery card here. It states jammed airlock door. At first you think it's a system lock, then you notice the charring. The airlock door is buckled from heat. You may force the door open or try running diagnostics. I can either test strength or intelligence to be able, and I'm looking for a number, intelligence, and I'm going to be looking for a particular number of successes. And what they are is down here. It's not a particular number. You're going to look at your card here. If I get 2, you quickly deal with the obstacle, place a confidence token in the spacer pool. If I get 1, it takes some work, but you eventually get it open. And 0, for a while, nothing, but you do works if something so trivial proves a challenge. What hope do you have of survival? I gain a stress. Regardless of the result, I open the door and I remove it. It didn't even look like they're supposed to. Okay, I should have had a door out on the board, apparently. It says to remove it. But nonetheless, we are going to open this airlock door here. All right. So I am going to look and see what I have for my intelligence and my strength. My strength stat for this particular character is 1. My intelligence, though, is 2, so I get to roll 2 dice. We'll roll 2 white dice and see how it goes. I got a success and I got a half success. The half success, of course, is not going to help us without another half. So we did get 1 success, which means we got the door open, but I don't get to add any of those tokens. I will discard this token and we'll move into our next person's turn. Moving into the end of turn, I am going to slide this token into the active area, giving it the ability to be used by the next spacer. Now, of course, this is a cooperative game, so you are able to communicate and figure out who wants to go when. There isn't a set order once the game starts. At this point, we're going to have Papa go next. Papa is going to move a little bit and interact with something. We're going to move 2 spaces, and we're going to have to roll a noise roll, but I'm going to put that in the middle section. I'm going to move 2 first with this one that allows me to move while gaining 1 stress, moving my stress to 2. And then the last one, I am going to perform a scout, scavenge, reload, rationalize thing. I'm going to use a scavenge action, which will be an adrenaline action, so we'll move that up 1. Now, of course, that action may change based on the noise roll, but I don't think it will, which is why I've already given myself the stats down here. That, of course, will put another one of these tokens into the incoming place, so I'll place it there, and we'll perform these actions. Again, last time I'm going to state this, it is not a programming game. This is not the order you have to place them in. Once you place and resolve a card, you do that first, then you do the next card, and then you do the third card, because as these activate, things may change on the board. But for recording purposes, it's just much easier to do that. Here is our character. He's going to move 1, 2. You can move through your fellow spacers. You cannot end your turn on them. So we can move 1, 2, and then he's going to move 1, 2 again down to this console. So there's a little console down here that has a set of numbers. So we're going to move down to there. Now, once we get there, that card resolves, and I do have to perform a noise roll. The way you perform a noise roll in this game is you're going to select the amount of dice that are equal to the amount of blips on the board. Right now we have 3. So we're going to grab 3 dice and we're going to roll these 3 dice up and see what we get. Now, what we're not looking for is, this is not a test for successes or anything like this. What we're looking for is, I guess you could call them failures or potentials. So we're looking for these potentials. Every one of those is going to move a blip 1 space. Now, what I could do is I can use the active token in that area, the discipline token, to be able to turn one of these potentials into a success, pretty much removing it, giving myself the ability to only have to deal with one of those blips moving. And that might be the best choice here. The other 2 ways you can affect dice rolls in this game is I could use a confidence token to re-roll one of the dice. I could also take stress to also re-roll dice as well. I'm not going to do either of that. We're going to keep those. So we got 2 that had nothing on them. We'll just turn them to something that has nothing on them. There we go, that one. And I think we had a success. It was like this, but we turned it into just a straight success. So I'm just going to do that for ease of recording. These are the dice that would potentially would have been rolled based on me turning that one into something else. So we now are going to take these dice and assign them to the blips on the board. There are 3 blips out on the board, so we can assign these to the ones we want. I'm going to assign the one with the potential to that one. We'll assign this one here and this one here. So now that they're assigned, you're going to move the blips equal to the number of potentials that are on the dice that you've assigned them to. These both have no potential, so they will not move. This one is going to move 1 space, and it's going to move 1 space towards the person who made noise. And that person is also going to gain this token to show that he's the last person to have made noise. And that could play a part later on in the time moving through the ship. If some of these also start moving again, they're going to move towards potentially somebody with noise at that point, based on depending on where you are in the game. So this one will move 1 space. Now, I can't just move it diagonal. Everything in this game is orthogonal, including figuring out whether or not your gun can reach things or whether your light source has light to something. Everything is counted in cardinal directions. He will move, or this blip will move 1 space, and it can either move down or it could move to the side, either one of those. Now, if you notice, this blip is facing down. So when it comes to its turn, when it comes to the intruder turn, if that blip is to move, it's in the white area of the track for our turns, it's going to do what's called patrolling, and it's going to patrol in the direction that the arrow shows. So in this particular example, if my characters are planning to move this way across the board, it might not be best to move this thing this way and then when it patrols come down. So I think I'm going to move this just one space in that direction. Now you're also noticing different places here on the map that have blip symbols. These are spawn locations, and these are going, when you're told to spawn a blip onto the board, you're going to spawn it in those areas based on the location of where it's supposed to spawn. And most of the time they spawn towards the closest spacer that potentially made noise, or just the closest spacer in general. So that, for example, this one to spawn right here. And these all move on these nodes, not in the middle of the board. If you've noticed, these are all on nodes as they're moving down the board. And if they're ever in contact with another spacer, if they move into contact, you're going to resolve the token. If my character is here and I could move 3 and I move 1, 2, 3 past the blip, you do not resolve the blip. It's only if the blip is either scouted or it moves onto your character. Then you'll resolve the blip and see what happens. Hopefully it's blank. Hopefully it's just random static in the bowels of the shepherd. Now that we've done the noise roll, we are going to resolve 110 by performing a scavenge action on that console. It says you find a working console, its keyboard covered in a thin film of oily substance. Open doors. You may open B1, B2, or both. If you use the search action, make a noise roll. And we did use, a search would be the same as a scavenge action. Again, wishing they would just call it an interact action when it comes to being able to interact with so many different things. But we don't call it a search, we're gonna call it a scavenge action. So I did do that. So I am gonna have to roll the noise dice, but I get to either open B1, B2, or both. And B1 is a double door right there, and B2 is a door right here. I don't see why I don't open both. We can want to explore most of the ship. Now, if, for example, if we had blips down here or we knew there was an enemy down here, opening this door might not be the best plan. But, well, actually, blips aren't going to matter. Blips move through everything. They aren't blocked by doors or anything like that. But the enemies would be. But we don't have any enemies out here, so I'm not too worried. Now, of course, opening this door might put something down the line, might come in here later, but maybe I'm signaling my own death. I don't know. But we're going to open everything so I have access to all the different parts of the ship. Now, let's do that noise roll. Again, we'll roll up our 3 white dice and see what we got. We got 1 potential. Oh no, we got 2 potentials. So we have to move 2 of these blips. And I don't have any way of stopping that. Unless I want to use stress to re-roll these dice, I think we're okay for now. This time, I think we're going to move this one that way, and I'm going to move this one this way. So they're going to be coming closer towards that person. Now, if I were to ever, let's say I had to roll something like this, and I rolled 3 potentials on this die, and I had to assign it to that thing right there, it would move, but it would move in a zigzag pattern until it came to a point where it was in line with our character. Then it would just go down the track. I hope that makes sense. So, for example, say I had to move this one more time that way, and then I had to move it 2 spaces, I can move it 1, 2, and it would just start following me this way. And so it does just start going down the track once it reaches a point where it's on a cardinal direction of one of the spacers it's going towards. At the end of our turn, we'll move our token into the active. We'll move into our engineering division's turn. And at this point, I am going to play out my cards again in the order I want them to be. I'm going to move 3, then I'm going to move 1, and then I am going to perform a scavenge action. So let's check that out. Now, doing these, this one says it's going to make noise and allow me to move 3. This is going to move 1, but no noise. And then this is going to be adrenaline action, which means I'll be placing that into the pool. I'll move 3, 1, 2, 3 to that square right there and perform a noise roll. Hopefully we don't get any potentials. We got 2 again. Oh my gosh. I think I want to get rid of one of these potentials. I'm going to get rid of this one. We'll just flip it to that point right there. So we have to move 1 blip, 1 space. Isaac made too much noise, but I'm going to move this one space that way. That'll be the dice that I assigned there. And the other 2 are going to be assigned the dice that are not going to move the blips. And that is going to be the end of our noise roll. I get to move 1 space now. So we'll move on to this cache. Hopefully it has a weapon in it. And then I'll perform my scavenge action, which is an adrenaline action. So I'm going to raise my adrenaline and then perform my scavenge action where we're going to bring this in. And now this entire deck has been shuffled up. It's not a predetermined deck, and you're going to draw from the bottom of the deck. And that way keeping the top card covered. And the reason why is because the cards are double-sided. This is the level 1 card, and this is something you could, is in full game only. As you play through, once you get to the end of this, maybe you might have the resources and stuff to be able to upgrade this gun. What do we have here? We have a contraband pistol. This is going to roll 3 white dice and give me a one that turns potentials into successes. That's fantastic. And if you have 5 or more adrenaline, you get to gain 2 successes automatically. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. It's got 3 range, and it's already got 2 criticals here already on it. It is going to roll noise and empty clip. I can use my expertise to deplete the remaining ammo and gain an extra thing. That's fantastic. Now, whenever you do scavenge things from the weapon chest, or I shouldn't say, not all of them are weapons, but from the cache, you do get to perform a fast kind of an instant, equip action. So at this point, I could choose to put one of these guns. I think I'm just going to put the other gun away. I don't need the gun. That gun's way better. I'll put this into my backpack. I can hold 3 things in it, and I'm going to keep this. Why do I want to keep this thing compared to the other gun? The other gun's just as good. Oh, this is noiseless. Let's make sure we have at least one thing that causes no noise and one that causes tons of noise. Also, he did make noise last, so he now has that token. Our last character, Juliet, in the op division, is going to move. We're going to have her move 2 spaces with stress, so it's going to go up to 2. We're then going to scavenge with our card, stressful brainstorm. So we're going to move up our adrenaline 1 space, giving us one of these tokens into the incoming pool. I do have one in the active pool at this present time. And the last thing I'm going to do is move 2 spaces and roll for noise. We'll move 1, 2 spaces here. I'm going to scavenge this engram from the board, and then I'm going to move 1, 2 to that place, rolling for noise. Now, before we do that, one thing you can do is there are fast actions in this game, but fast actions are going to cost you these tokens. For example, I could fast scavenge an engram by spending this token, meaning as I'm just moving, I can just grab it, and it wouldn't have to use my stressful brainstorm to grab it. But for now, I think we're going to be okay. I'm just going to grab the token and leave this in the pool for my active pool to be able to use, because I know I'm rolling for noise, and hopefully I can keep that at bay. With 3 blips on the board, again, we'll roll 3 dice. I do have 1. I am going to pay that 1 to cause them to not move at all. I'm going to turn that into a 6, I'm going to delete the noise from that die. That's the end of a turn. We'll move that into the active. With all of our characters having acted, we'll then move into the intruder phase. The intruder phase has 3 different steps. You have the intruder activation, the blip patrols, and then the end of the round. So the intruder activation is not going to happen because we don't have any of the intruders actually out on the board at this time, but we are going to resolve our blip patrols. The way blip patrol works is you look for the person who has performed the noise last. We know that is Juliet. She is right here. She's the last person to have performed, and it has the noise token I saved, last person performed a noisy action. Then we're going to grab a card from the scanner deck based on where we are on the track. So we're still in the white area, so we're going to grab a white card. We're going to take that, flip it over, and slide it into this thing here. Hopefully it appears on the screen. Sometimes a little wondered about these red things. It did fantastic. Now we're going to place this on top of our character with this facing north. Then we're going to count up the amount of blip symbols we have in the different quadrants. So it's 2, 2, 2, and 1. That's absolutely 100% terrible. So we're going to place this right like this, and they're going to go on a patrol, which means they're going to move the direction their blip is facing that many spaces equal to how many are inside of this circle. So for the northwest area over here, this one is going to move 2. 1, 2, just like that. This one over here is going to move 1, 2 to right there. Then we're going to move the bottom corner 2, but that's not going to happen. So we'll move our final one over here 1, because there's only 1 in that area of the thing. Once that's done, we'll discard this card, and that's the end of the blip patrol. Now, as the track moves further down the line, we're going to be drawing red and black scanner cards moving forward, which I'm sure are absolutely terrible as we move forward. There was a little number number inside of there that had a number and a letter. That is going to be something that's probably going to be used later in the adventure, or might not even be used in our scenarios at all. But so I don't have any idea what these letters in here H4 is right now. But again, as we move forward, it could maybe tell us. There is, if you had to potentially place something on the board based on that letter, I think you would use these here. You would put these down and you'd put on H4. So you'd line these up and potentially put something in that space there, let's say, because that could be H4. That's, I think, what that is for, but I haven't had to deal with that yet. We only had to deal with the blips. If it tells us to use that, then we know how to do it. That's the end of the intruder phase, and we'll move back into the beginning of our next round. We'll start by moving this down the track, which means we have encountered a discovery. We're going to see what discovery 10 is. Our card states, solar flare. An eerie sense of anxious elation settles over you. Then the corridor fills with brilliant light, as if you are touching God himself. It takes you all your willpower to not walk out into the blinding, searing flame. A solar flare lights the corridor up. Each spacer tests willpower or dexterity for 2 successes. A success means you gain 1 adrenaline. You fail, you're going to gain the dazed condition card. Then remove any blips on the scorched spaces and spawn new ones on the closest spawn points. If there are any intruders in the scorched spaces, move them so they are no longer on such spaces until the end of the round. They cannot enter such spaces. Interesting. All right, let's go resolve this card. The first part of the card states we have to make a test. If I have willpower or dexterity, hopefully 2, then it might help. Sadly, we're going to start with our scientist, who does not have either of those, so she's going to roll 1 die. And she got 2 successes. That's amazing. So she grabs an adrenaline. That is so awesome. All right, next we have our engineer. Our engineer actually does have 2 dexterity, so we get to roll 2 dice. Let's see how those turn out. That turns out fantastic. He gets an adrenaline as well. Then we'll move into our ops division. Our ops division does have 2 dice in willpower. Rolling them up, we got 2 successes. That's fantastic. This person also gets an adrenaline. And then we'll move into our last person, which is Papa, who only has 1 die. We'll roll that up and see what he got. Nothing. Smurfly nothing. So he's going to have to take the dazed condition. So we'll grab that card from our condition deck and take a look at what it says. Dazed. Each range you have is reduced by 1. If you gain this condition a second time or you gain the blinded condition card, flip this card. So on the back side, this is blinded. At the end of your next turn, discard this card. All right, we'll put that with him. That's fantastic. And that's the end. Wow, we actually did really good. Oh, interesting. It says you may gain adrenaline if you want to. I think it's okay. I think we're going to gain some adrenaline. I think it'll be okay. Who knows? Remember, if we ever get 9, our heart explodes and we die. The second part of the card talks about whether or not our blips or our intruders are in scorched locations. They are not. We are in a scorched location, but I don't think that has any play into anything. But this blip is not, that's not, and that's not. The scorched marks are usually seem to be all over in this area or right over there. At this point, we'll be moving on a little bit faster, turning the rounds so that we can hopefully get, now that I've explained a lot of the rules and everything that's going on with our characters, we'll be moving a little bit faster. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a move 2, and I'm going to gain 1 stress with our engineer. 2 spaces. I'm going to face in that direction and perform a scout action, which is an adrenaline action, raising my adrenaline by 1. Moving the adrenaline up 1 is going to give us a whole bunch of tokens to place in here. We get 2 of our confidence tokens. We also get a expertise token, and we also get a potential, or not a potential, but a discipline token as well into our combat incoming pool. And now we get to perform a scout action, and he has this with him. It's an overcharged headlamp, which means my light roll is going to be a red die instead of the one that we have on our basic card down here, which would only be a white die. Now the range is still 2, and the blip is 1 space away. Now lucky for me, this person was was not dazed. Otherwise, it could be really, really bad. I'd only have one range. Well, it'd still be enough to get there, but not having range is not good. To perform a scout action, we're just going to roll our die for our lamp and see if we get a success. We did. We got one success, which is enough to illuminate the area. So at this point, we are going to flip over our blip token, and it is a U. Oh my gosh, that's absolutely out of control. A U is a unique specimen. At that point, when this, if we decide to, we can then put that onto the board, and it's going to come in with a special unique ability. Now at this point, since I successfully was able to scout this blip, I can leave it there knowing what it is and continue on my merry way away from the blip if I want to. And hopefully it will just continue moving on its random course out into space, but eventually will probably come back at one point. Or I could spawn it right now and I can put one of the enemies into one of the locations adjacent to where this is. It states that it goes into an eligible space. So I believe an eligible space would be any of the spaces adjacent to that corner space that the blip was on. And I think I'm going to do that. Why not? Let's take this guy out, see if we can. It's going to be a unique one, or this is a unique specimen, so it could be a lot harder than I'm expecting. Now, when I do get to scavenge it, or scout it, sorry, and I'm successful, I'm able to flip my Stressful Brainstorm card and perform a Desperate Measures attack for free. It's not exerting myself, and it does not actually gain any adrenaline when I make this attack, but I do get to leave spacer tokens into the incoming area, which is going to be, again, a whole ton of tokens that the next person can use. It's going to be 2 of these, and one of those, just a whole ton of these tokens. So there's a lot of incoming tokens in the incoming pool, but we're going to try to make an attack against that intruder here, the Grin. But before we do, we're going to give these cards a little truffle shuffle here, and we're going to grab one from the bottom and see what happens. This thing has Sealing Scuttler. All right, and it is going to Sealing Scuttler. It has +1, oh no, +1 anatomy threshold. That's bad, and its passive is lethal. So I'm going to place this into the 1 location on this board, and now I'm going to grab this token that has a bunch of 1s on it and put it underneath our Grin here to show that that's the one that has the Sealing Scuttler ability here. Oh my gosh, this is bad. All right, now we're going to perform an attack against it, which now it has +1 anatomy threshold here, which means the anatomy threshold is 4, not 3 for this particular enemy. We're going to shoot it with our new gun we got. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to spend an ammo token to fire. I get to roll 3 white dice. Now, on top of that, I gain one of these discipline tokens for not tokens, sorry, I apologize. I have this on my gun. Whenever I fire this gun, I'm able to gain a discipline ability for this dice roll. It's not a token. I don't get to put it in my pool, but it does give me the ability to potentially turn one of these into successes with the gun itself. I don't have 5 adrenaline. I really wish I did right now. 3 range, which means I am in range, and hopefully I can get, if I get 2 criticals, that would be absolutely amazing. Let's roll our 3 dice and see how we do here. We got 1, 2, 3. I got 1 critical. That's fantastic. I got 3. Then I get one of these automatically, so that's 4. That is enough to wound him. I could use the one in my active pool to make it 5, but he has an anatomy threshold of 4, which is enough to wound the enemy. Reading the wound conditioner, it says, the corridor fills with crackling. If there's at least 2 Grin or blips on the board, immediately spawn 1 blip. Sorry, if there's less than 2 Grin or blips on the board, immediately spawn 1 blip. And there are, because I'm going to remove this from the board, meaning there's only 2 blips out there, so we'll have to spawn 1. One thing I forgot is first contact. This is the first time we've contacted the Grin. So at this point, I would have to have done what this says. It says clear the spacer pool. If the pool is empty, every spacer gains a stress. So that would mean I would lose the one in my active place, plus all of those that I put in there before I took the shot, because this was the first time I saw it. Now, of course, I flipped my card and then performed the attack, which then says I'm supposed to be able to put spacer tokens into the pool. So at that point, I would then put these back into the incoming pool. So at least I have some to play with in my next turn. Now, I do have to perform a noise roll because of that shot. And look at that, I got 3 half successes. So that's pretty much the worst thing you could possibly roll in any roll except for a noise roll. Now, I forgot to spawn the blip before I rolled for the dice, but that's okay. I am still going to keep that roll because that roll's really good. So I do have 2 blips out here. I do have to grab another blip from this pool of blips up here, so I'm going to kind of mix these up a little bit. We're going to place another blip out here, and I have to spawn it on the spawn point. Now, interestingly enough, the spawn point is right in the middle of this thing, not on the side. So I'm just going to spawn it right here next to this cache here, right like that. And it's going to point towards the center of the board, from what I understand. All right. That is my new spawn blip out there. I don't have to worry about it. Now I do have one more action to do. I am going to perform a move 2 and make noise because I'd like to go grab some of this cool stuff. I'm going to move 1, 2 in that direction. And then maybe next turn I'm going to have him grab this and then go up there and maybe grab that. We'll see if we can do that. Hopefully we can do all that in one turn. That'd be super, super good. But for now, we're going to sit just like that. Let's do another noise roll. Now I don't have anything in my active pool, so any of these potentials are going to move a blip. I think what we're going to do is this one wants to get that character right there, so I'm going to move it instead of this way, though, I'm going to move it up so that it can come at me from that direction. Now it's on a direct line, it'll move straight towards this person. I've got a lot of tokens in my spacer in active pool, which is pretty awesome. We're going to use our scientist next. Our scientist is going to start moving. Our scientist is going to move 2 spaces. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to move 3 spaces and perform a noise roll. Then I'm going to move 2 more spaces and perform a noise roll. This could be really bad. We'll see how this goes. Then I'm going to perform a scavenge action. That's going to be my plan. So first, she's going to move 1, 2, 3 to right there. Oh wait, I'm not going to be able to get to where I want to. I was hoping to get to that token to be able to do a scavenge action. I'm not going to be able to make it because I can't go diagonal. I think I'm going to go, okay, let's rethink this. That might not have been the best plan. I think instead, I'm going to do 2 move 2s. I'm going to do a move 2 with noise, move 2 with stress, and then I'm going to use this action to rationalize, which is going to be able to help my stress. I should probably explain more than just what the scavenge action does. We've seen the scout and scavenge action in action. That's kind of funny. Then the reload, of course, action will reload your gun. And the rationalize action is an action you can use to help remove stress. There's also one down here called catch your breath. That's one that can help lower. Remember, you leave spacer tokens after each of your adrenaline actions. Catch your breath is not an adrenaline action. I don't believe only the red ones are. You can also do a rearm action as well. Yes, the rearm action allows you to unexhaust any cards that you've used. Some cards are going to have an exhaust condition on them. Catching your breath will remove an exert card and also give you -1 adrenaline. These are adrenaline actions. The rationalize, the full reload, and the scavenge and scout. And the rationalize does lower your stress by 2. So we'll move her up 2, 1, 2, and then move her again 1, 2, performing a noise roll and gaining 1 stress, bringing her stress to 4. We'll take our 3 dice, roll them up. I got 2 of these. I am going to use one of my tokens to both my tokens, to re-roll both of these dice. We'll roll them up. Oh no, I got 2 again. So I'm going to use that to at least cancel one of them out. So we do still have 1 potential we have to deal with when moving these blips. I'm going to move this blip 1 in this direction. Hopefully I can get it kind of going in that way a little bit. I don't think it's going to happen because our guys are going to start going this way, but for now it's going to be going in that direction. And now I'll perform my rationalize action, being able to move that up 1, this down 2, and then we're going to drop all of those tokens into the incoming spacer tokens. That's going to be 2 expertise, a discipline, and also a little orange circly doohickey one. I totally lose my name right now. Now at the end of the turn, I am going to take this token and place it here to show that we are adding expertise tokens to that card. I'm going to transfer all of these into the active pool here. And I don't think anybody yet has done the 3 noise. If they did and I missed that, I apologize, but I don't think that's happened yet. Juliet's going to go next. I've set her up to move 5 spaces, and then we're going to probably rationalize or scout or something. We'll scavenge. We'll see where I actually end up. We'll move 1, 2 to here, and then we'll move, actually I'll move 1, 2 just like that. And then we'll move 1, 2, 3, but first we have to perform a noise roll right there. I'm just going to roll the dice right over here, see how it goes. We did get one of those symbols. I am going to use this to cancel that symbol, meaning nothing is going to move. And at this point, I will then move 3 more, 1, 2, 3, and then I will pick that up with my scavenge action. But first I have to do another noise roll. We'll roll them again right here. I got 2. I'm going to use this token to re-roll this die. Let's see how we go. We did have 2. Okay, so I'm going to move this one 1, and this one 1 as well. Those are the 2 tokens I choose to move. I'm going to assign this one to that blip up there, meaning it will not move. Those tokens were used. I am then going to scavenge this, which is going to be a adrenaline action, so it'll move this up 1, and it will give us spacer tokens into the spacer pool. So we'll be putting in 2 of these and 1 expertise into the incoming pool. This particular item here is going to allow me to move a blip 1 space if I want to, or of course I can keep these to move into the end of the extraction to use for crafting or upgrading or things of that nature. At the end of her turn, I'm going to drop these onto our card. There are 3 of them here. There are ones that are, if you flip them over, there are 2, so we have 3 total there. We'll drop these into the active place and move into Papa's turn. Now remember, he is dazed, so each range is going to be reduced by 1, but we're still going to do that big double move and perform a scavenge here. So I am going to move 2, move 3, and then scavenge, which is going to be an adrenaline action, which is good because I need to kind of get his adrenaline up so we can drop some tokens for some people in the future. He's going to move 1, 2, and perform a noise roll. There are 3 blips on the board. We'll roll these up and see what we get. We've gotten nothing. That's awesome. And then I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 to right here and grab this token with my scavenge action. But first I have to roll for noise for the 3 movement. And we got, oh my gosh, 3. Well, lucky for us. Lucky for us. We got 2 of these tokens, so I can get rid of 2 of the noise, which is very good. And I am going to move this token down 1. The other 2 are going to be assigned to the blips here and up there, so they're not going to move. That's the end of his turn, but I do get to roll a black die and potentially get this. Now, sadly, I just used all my potential to stop that thing from happening, but I got 2, and I've got 2 sets 4. Now, sadly, that's not 5. It'd be really awesome if it was 5, but it's not, it's only 4. So I do get to keep this token, showing that I am at 2 of those. And for now, we still don't know our secondary objective. We have not figured out what the anomalous reading is inside of the ship, but that is the end of our turn. So when he performed the scout action, or sorry, the scavenge action, he is going to move up his adrenaline 1, putting tokens into, oh, he's only going to put 2 of these tokens into the pool. Oh, I need to be a little more adrenaline, I think, in order to keep this going. Now he's going to drop this token onto our stratagem, which means we have a total of 4 now on that. If we get 6, we get to flip it over and can use it. Now there's no intruders on the board, so we're going to go into doing the blips. So I'm going to take my little scanner here, take my card, flip it upside down, stick it in there, and we're going to center it over Papa, and we are going to move our blips. So if he's centered like this, everything on the bottom is going to move 2. So this is going to move 1, 2 in that direction. Everything up here is going to move 2, 1, 2 in that direction. And the one up, oh, this is also considered over here. So it's going to move 1, 2, just like that. There aren't any blips over on this side of the board, so that is it. Our scanner has been completed, and that's the end of our intruder phase. Next, we'll move our token down to 7, which we're still in the white, but next turn we are not. Next turn we're moving into the red, which things are going to get really tough. This turn we're going to start with our engineer. I think I have a pretty good plan. We'll see how it goes. The first card I am going to play is going to be our 3 speed one. I'm going to move 3 spaces and make noise. The reason I'm going to do this, I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 onto that token there. I'm going to be crossing past this engram, and while I'm moving on or through it, I can perform a fast scavenge. In order to do that, you have to give up one of your tokens. For an engram, the token I have to give up is a discipline, and I do have 2 of those in my active area, so we'll be able to pick this up. This token, if used during the mission, is able to put any 2 tokens into a spacer pool. Now, because I played a card with noise, we have to roll our noise dice. I'm just going to roll them right here. Oh no, we got 2 potentials. Well, 2 is not too bad. If I got 3, they're really bad because I got to deal with a card. I don't even know what it is. I'm going to move these 2 blips towards this person. This one's going to move that way, and this one's going to move in that direction. And that's going to be it for that noise roll. At this point, I am now going to do my the scavenge action here, using my adrenaline action, moving our adrenaline up. This will move it into this location here, number 4. I'm halfway almost to death, but I do get to drop 2 confidence tokens, a discipline token, and an expertise token into the upcoming area, which is going to be very good for the next person going. We're going to, now we get to roll a die. We get to roll a die. We get to roll a black die. Let's see how it goes. I have now 3 of these tokens. We roll the dice and see how it goes. I've got 1, 2 plus 3 is 5. That, I believe, is enough to complete our secondary objective. The secondary objective states when you have 5 or more successes in the roll or investigate for anomalous readings, see 137 in the Mythos book. You locate the source of the anomalous readings, though you wish you hadn't. The corpse of the astronaut has been strewn across the floor, torn apart by, if you didn't know better, a pack of rabid dogs. It does not appear to have been eaten. Whatever did this, it did not do it out of hunger. With the utmost reluctance, you search the body. You find a military-grade live ammo rifle, supposedly blacklisted on ships, such as the Shepherd, for fear of puncturing the hull. A security keycard, and a service minicom linked to the Solar Ring's operating intra-system. It shows that the radial elevator you are heading to is offline and may need a reboot. You will find a suitable security console in the room just by the elevator behind an orange clearance lock. The player who finished the quest gains the orange keycard token and the FR1 contraband rifle gear card. Placed 2 expertise tokens into the pool. Replace any remaining anomalous reading tokens on the board with random engram tokens. All right, that sounds awesome. We'll take our orange keycard token, which looks pretty awesome. I'll just place it here. Then I get this amazing rifle, the contraband rifle. I get to roll red dice, and look at this. I get a confidence token and a discipline token. I lied, they're not tokens. I get to use a confidence action and a discipline action when rolling to attack with this. And if I have 5 or more adrenaline, which is the next time I'm gonna be moving this guy anyway, I'm gonna be able to gain 2 extra successes on this. Now, the problem is this one is noise, so I'll roll noise +1. So I automatically have 1 success I have to deal with for every bullet I fire. So if I do a burst 2, that's going to trigger this multiple times. But I think we're going to put this in our hand. These 2 I have to switch out now. So I'll place these right there. And these are going to go into my backpack, but I have 4 in my backpack, so I have to remove 1. I think what we're going to get rid of is I'm actually going to get rid of the multi-tool. I don't think I have any use for this multi-tool come as the game goes forward here. Some of these others are just that much better. All right, we'll place those there. This one is now equipped, and wow, that was really cool. I also get 2 expertise tokens. I get to put them in a pool. I'm going to put them in the incoming pool as opposed to the active pool. It didn't say which pool to put them in, and I'm just going to go with that because this character is pretty much done, and I don't have any reason to be using my expertise for him. So we're then going to move 2 spaces. Nope, there's only 1 or 2. I am going to move 2 spaces, and sadly, we're going to have to do another noise roll. With 3 tokens on the board, oh, first I get to move 2. I'm going to move 2 right here. Not moving past that thing. That's going to be bad news. Actually, I'm going to move straight down here in case that thing comes at me. Oof, that'd be terrible. Let's roll these up. I got 1. Now, I do only have 1. I have one of these left to use, so I'm going to use it because I don't get to keep these, carrying them over. There is no reason to not use that token. That's the end of this character's turn. I am also going to discard all of these. I don't need these tokens anymore. We have completed our secondary objective, which actually sounds very important to complete. Hopefully this character can make it down back over here because these characters are all planning to move that way, but I might have to wait for this character now because he has that extra the key card that I may need. All right, that's the end of his turn. we'll slide all of these tokens into the active pool here. Oh my gosh, so many tokens. We're gonna use Papa next. Now, one thing I do have to mention is when you aren't able to hold anymore and you drop something on the ground, it is lost forever. So that card is no longer going to be in the ability to use. I had to drop it. Also, this also should have been discarded at the end of the next turn. So I should have discarded this card. I didn't need this card to begin. I shouldn't have this card anymore. I forgot to mention that when I went to the end of turn area here. We'll move into his turn now. We'll take our cards back and decide what we want to do. Even though I said I was using Papa, I lied. I'm going to use this character next. And the reason I'm going to is because of her ability here, where it says I can spend 2 expertise tokens to go check it out, which is allowing me to move a spacer 1 space. So I do have 2 expertise tokens in the active pool. We're going to use those tokens to move our engineer 1 space. We're going to get him closer to this door. I want to get him back into this group and start moving that way. Meanwhile, we're going to take all 3 of these cards and do a double move, and then we're going to use a rationalize action. So when I do this particular movement, I am going to gain 1 stress, then I'm going to rationalize at the end, but we'll do that when we get to that card because I also have to move 2 spaces and roll for noise. Moving 4 spaces, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I end my turn on that. We'll roll our noise and see what happens. We'll roll these up, hopefully not getting too many. We got a couple. So I am actually going to spend 1 of my tokens to remove this die, turning it to not a potential. And we're going to move 1 token. I'm just going to move that 1 space that way. At this point, I get to check out this discovery, which is 004. Our card states violent search. Something has gone through these supplies, smashing the metal containers. What could? Still, there is something here you could use. You reach for a familiar piece of gear. Are those teeth marks? Gain 1 stress and the rudimentary scanner gear card, then test dexterity, and I need 1 success. If I succeed, I get to place 1 confidence token into any spacer pool. If I fail, you cut yourself on the broken glass. Thick blood drips onto the charred floor. I have lose white dice worth of health. Her dexterity is only 1, so I have to roll the die. I got a half success and a potential, and I don't have any more discipline tokens in my pool, so I'm going to use 1 of my confidence tokens to re-roll this die, and I got my success. Okay, whoofta! I got 1 success, so that means I do get to place this confidence token into any pool. And since I've already done all of my moving and I'm not having to worry about noise anymore, I'm going to place this in the upcoming one and move on to the rest of the card. Moving back to here, I do have to take 1 stress because of the card. I gain 1 stress in a rudimentary scanner. Now, we already have the rudimentary scanner over on our scientist, so I'm going to stick it into my backpack. I might have to pull it out later, who knows, but I think this flashbang might be better. Lucky for me, I'm Act 5, which is a lot of stress. I was actually going to use the rationalize action anyway to move my adrenaline up and drop my stress by 2. That does put some new tokens into the token pool. If I can put this into the little thing, there we go. 2 disciplines and 1 expertise token. That's the end of her turn. We'll drop this into here. We have 2, 4, 5, 1 more, which might be coming pretty soon. This gets discarded. We might be able to move this to usable next time because we do have this expertise token coming in for our next character. It is now Papa's turn. I will move that onto that character now, even though I already said I was doing it before. We're going to move into him. He's going to do some moving and some an adrenaline action because I actually want his adrenaline to go up. He does have enough tokens in the token pool that I could use 1 of those to do a fast scavenge so I wouldn't have to use an adrenaline action, but I really want to get his adrenaline up. So we're going to move 2 spaces, roll for noise, move 2 spaces and gain a stress, and then we are going to perform this action here, which is going to be my scavenge action. So we're going to move stress up 1 and my adrenaline up 1 just right now, and since I am here at the character, and at this point I'm going to put these tokens into the token incoming pool, and it's not the end of the world if I do it now, even though if there's anything that would have changed what this is going to do based on anything I draw or roll, we'll make sure to deal with that. But for recording purposes, it's just much easier to do everything on the board and then go to the other board. He's going to move 1, 2 to right here and then roll for noise for the first set of cards that he has played. Roll them right here. I've got 1 potential and the other two are not. I am going to use my discipline to knock that out so we don't have to move any of the blips. Next, I'll move 2 spaces, 1, 2 to this cachet here. And at this point, I will use that adrenaline action to scavenge this. We'll scavenge this and gain a new card from the bottom of our deck. And we have found ourselves a stim injector. We already have one of these. This isn't any better. Okay, well, that's a sad, sad deal. I'm going to put that into my backpack because I don't need that right now. And that's the end of his turn. And I guess we'll go on to our last player now. But before we do, I am going to drop the last expertise into here, giving us 2, 4, 6 of these. That is going to give us the ability to turn over this card. And this one has 2 charges on it, and it says I can recover 3 stress. That's fantastic. Deactivate. When you use the last charge, immediately flip this card. So I only get to use it twice, but if we need to get rid of stress, we can still start dumping expertise onto that card to allow ourselves to be able to use that stress. That's actually really good. I think that'll be really helpful. All right, we'll move into our scientist's turn, and that'll be the end of our round. Our scientist is going to move without causing any noise. I think that's going to be our best plan. She's going to use a move 1 and a move 2 and gain a stress. She's got plenty of room to gain stress. And we're going to save this card to see what happens, because we're going to move her 1, 2, 3 to right here and finding out what Discovery 3 is. This card states something crawled here. The faint light of your service lamp reveals black greasy marks on the floor. Did that shadow move? Gain Xenoscript card 11. Spawn a blip on the nearest spawn point facing your direction. Oh, barf. Then test willpower. All right, we'll test willpower and see how this goes. But before we do, I have to spawn a blip facing me and the closest spawn point, which I believe is this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, those are way too far away. That's not going to work at all. Oh boy. All right, then I also get Xenoscript card 11. We'll see what that says. This card states grainy pattern. The more you looked at the greasy marks, the more you were convinced there was an underlying pattern in the substance, an unseen structure calling to you. You may use the Xenoscript during extraction runs or incursion. I can use 1 expertise to gain adrenaline, which actually could be really good. And I have 2 uses of this card. I believe that this is in effect right now because I am doing an incursion or extraction run. I believe this, or maybe this isn't an extraction, but I think it is. We're going to use the card anyway because it's pretty awesome. If I'm wrong about that, that's totally fine. Again, this is a prototype, but I want to make sure you can demonstrate all the things that are going on. So if I'm not able to use that card, please let me know, but we're going to go with it. Now, the next thing I have to do is, of course, test my willpower. Let's see how that goes. Sadly, she only has 1 willpower, so we'll roll up our die. We only got 1 success. Hopefully that's not too bad. It says, no, you must be seeing things. I do gain 1 stress. So it's the middle one. It's not too bad. It's not been rolling noises and potential, but this would have actually got me something, but that's okay. I am going to gain 1 stress, moving my stress to 4. Now, the last thing we need to do is choose what we want to do on this card. And I think we're going to use our rationalize ability again. We're going to gain an adrenaline, which is just fine. And we're going to lower our stress by 2. 1, 2. There we go. All right. We're going to also dump all of these into the active pool, or the incoming pool, sorry. These tokens will then move into the incoming. I've already gotten rid of all the active ones already. Now we do have a slight problem here. The last person to make noise is actually Papa. She didn't make any noise. So that means I'm going to have to scan here. If these move 2 spaces this way, that's going to be Bad News City. Let's draw our scout card, or our scan card, and see what we have found. We have found ourselves, okay, we got lucky, it's only 1. Okay, so this is only going to move 1 space in this direction towards him. The other one here is also going to move 1 space towards him as well. The top ones is going to move 1 space towards him, and then this one is going to move 2 spaces. 1, 2, almost on top of our ops character. That's absolutely terrible. We're going to need to get out of that room right now. There isn't any in the lower quadrant, which is basically those 2 squares. So that is going to be the end of that scan phase. That would have been absolutely tragic if we would have found, if these things would have touched us. So actually, now that I think about it, I think this one does. 1, 2. It's going to meet up with that character there. So because this moved on to that character, I am going to have to reveal this blip And we have found, oh no. Now, if one white, since we're on white, one is going to spawn. I'm going to place this back into our blip pool and mix it all up. We're going to place out one of these enemies right here, right next to her. Oh no, that's terrible. And on top of that, because it moved into here, it's going to be able to do a surprise attack. An ambush attack is coming. At this point, we are, since it moved onto our space and revealed itself, it is going to be able to do an ambush attack, which is going to perform its attack actions immediately. So here we look at our intruder, and it says here, black snap. If the target is adjacent, the grin's neck splits straight across, revealing an endlessness of teeth. We're going to roll 2 red and a white die. If 6 damage was dealt, gain the Grift condition card. This could be really, really bad. Oh boy. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 damage to her. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. We need to get her next to the scientist fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. She is at 5 health. This will now bring us to the beginning of our next round, and oh boy, things are going to heat up now. I am going to be moving our marker down the track. We're going to be moving into this number 6. We're going to be checking out the event number 11, and then we're going to have to spawn a new blip. Every time we get to a new symbol that has the intruder symbol on it, that means we're going to be spawning new blips for each of those. So we're going to, as we go, new blip, new blip, new blip. Oh my gosh, there's going to be so many blips out here. We, I think, need to start looking for a way to get out of here. We are going to check out Discovery card number 11. Hopefully this one talks about how they give me some huge giant guns, kind of like the Colonial Marines and Aliens. Let's see what we found. We have found another solar flare. Fills the ring with incinerating light. It gets in through every crevice, every crack, melts suits, chars skin and bone. You think you saw something flutter in the blinding haze. Is it an angel? No. A solar flare lights the corridor up. Each spacer tests willpower or dexterity, looking for 2 successes. If you success, you may gain adrenaline. If you fail, you gain that dazed condition again. Then I'm going to remove any blips on the scorched spaces. Oh, I really wish I would have known this was coming. I could have put some of them there. And then spawn new ones on the closest spawn points. If there are any intruders on the scorched spaces, move them so that they are no longer on such spaces. Until the end of the round, they cannot enter such spaces. Oh, that's going to actually probably help us out. So sadly, we do not have any of these on scorched spaces, the blips, but we do have, oh no, that's not a scorched space. Oh no, the solar flare, it just missed the solar flare. It completely, the solar flare is here, here, and here, but not in that location. We'll start with our scientist. She has, well, 1 willpower. We'll see how this goes. But she does have 1 dexterity, so she's got the worst of it here. From what I understand, since it's not actually our turn, I don't think we have access to the active pool because we don't have an active character. So we're just going to roll up our willpower and hope we do well. We got half success, so that is not good. I should say that is not well. She is going to gain the dazed condition, so she is not well. Each range you have is reduced by 1. We have seen this, and if I get it again, I'm going to gain blinded. We're going to get rid of that at the end of my next turn. We'll move into Isaac. Isaac is the engineer. He does have 2 dexterity. So we're going to roll both of these up. We got 2 successes, so he may move his adrenaline up. He is not. He's going to keep it right where he is. I think he's doing just fine. Next we have Juliet. Juliet also has 2 willpower. Let's see how she does. She got plenty. She got 2. That's fantastic. Now we have the last person, which is poor Papa. Papa only has 1 dexterity or 1 willpower. Roll this up. He got nothing. So he's going to, poor guy, he gets hit with this thing. You'd think if you saw this thing coming, you know, oh, I know what this is. But instead, nope, he got hit by the solar flare and is going to get dazed. And now we must spawn a blip, and the blip is going to be spawned at the nearest spawn point to the last person that has made noise, because there isn't anybody that actually activated the spawn. And the person that has this token is still Papa. Poor guy. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away from this, and I don't think 1, 2, 3, 4, he's going to be too far away from all those other ones. So we're going to mix up our blip pile a little bit. We're going to grab this one. We're going to put it here and aim it right, or no, put it right on the thing. There we go. Right there, and aim it at him. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Oh, you know what? I think we're going to be okay. I think okay, here I got a plan. I got a plan. We're going to use our engineer first. And the reason why is because if he makes noise, I can start moving towards him and not towards Papa, which I think would be the greatest plan on the planet. He also has that super awesome rifle. Now there's a intruder over here. But if I kill that intruder with this weapon, there's a chance that that blip will come after me if I roll absolutely terribly on the blip roll. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to check out what that blip is. I'm going to use my ability to use my, the scout ability to check that out. So we're going to start with that. We're going to start by using my adrenaline action to scout that particular marker. Now that is going to move our adrenaline up 5, and look at all those tokens he gets to dump in here. He gets to dump in 2 confidence, a discipline, and 2 expertise tokens, because he's got one here and on the new one that he just crossed. That's a lot of great tokens. Now he's going to use his light. He's the one who's got the best light, so he's going to roll a red die. Now one thing I didn't mention is if you do not get a success on the roll, then you do not see what the blip is, and that's just kind of a wasted action, which is super bad. All right, let's check out what that blip is. Hopefully we can take this guy out. We got 2 successes. That's plenty to be able to see what this blip is. Hopefully it is nothing. Oh no, look at that, white and red. So from what I understand, I could be wrong about this, but we're gonna spawn one if we're on the white track, and we're gonna spawn one if we're on the red track. So I believe that means 2 bad guys are coming. Here they come. I get to put them right there. Or I could flip this back down. Well, I might almost do that. Now they know what that is. I might just do that. I'm gonna flip that back down. I don't wanna deal with both those guys. So that was my scout action. I do actually get an attack if I wanted to. I can flip this and do an attack on them, which means I could maybe take all of them out. You know, let's go for it. What the heck, huh? We like to shoot aliens. Aliens are fun to shoot. I can't believe I said that. But I saw enough alien movies that shooting the aliens is usually the best plan. So we're going to put these right here again. We're going to put them adjacent to where that marker was. I think it was right there. So I'm going to put them there and there. And at this point, I am going to make an attack with my carbine rifle, which has a range of 4. And I get to do a free attack because when you do the scout action and are successful and they appear on the board, you get to flip this. Now I don't get to use the adrenaline part of the thing, but it does say I get to put spacer tokens in there. So again, I am dumping a ton of spacer tokens into this oncoming area here from what I understand. Of course, I could be wrong about that, but from what I understand, it says you still drop the spacer tokens in there according to the rules. Now, we haven't used either of our move cards yet, which is fantastic, but we're going to take a shot at that. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to use our Burst 2, which is going to move a lot of these tokens a lot. But I think this might be the best plan, because if I can take both those guys out, then I don't have to worry about them coming after me. So the way our burst is going to work is we have to pay 1 ammo for each shot we want to make. So we're going to be taking 2 shots at 2 separate intruders. If I had 3 bullets, I could burst all 3 of those if I wanted to. Next, we're going to take our dice and get them ready to roll. If you look at the card here, I do get 1 discipline, and I also get 1 confidence use with this weapon. On top of that, I do have some tokens in there as well. I want to make this clear though, one thing about the burst action that can be a little tricky is you can only use these for each attack. I don't get a chance at using these for each attack. You're going to roll separate for each person you're shooting, and once you roll your first roll, you have to decide what tokens and abilities from your gun you want to use. When you go to make the second attack, you don't get the abilities back on those guns or extra tokens. So this is going to be interesting. I get to roll 2 red dice. Now, my adrenaline is 50, or sorry, 5. Could be 50. So I am automatically going to get 2 successes. Since we're in the red area of the board, these Grin have a 4 for their anatomy threshold that I have to beat. So we're going to roll our 2 red dice up, and we got 1, 2 successes. That's enough to take out the enemy. So we're going to remove this one from the board. That was a wound. And when he's wounded, we are going to remove him. And if there's less than 2 Grin or blips on the board, we're immediately going to spawn one. That is not true. There is a ton of blips out there. There's 3 blips and 2 Grins, so we do not spawn a new one. We're then going to roll our next attack with our gun and see what we get. We got an absolutely monstrous amount of awesomeness here. All right, so here's what we got. We've got this roll. That's the best roll you can get on the dice. And I have a critical symbol there. I'm going to use my confidence to re-roll this. Right now, we have destroyed this enemy. We've wounded him with just that die alone, because I get 2 plus 2 is 4. That's the anatomy threshold. So I'm going to use the confidence token to re-roll this. No, I didn't get anything extra. And since I'm going to probably not be doing anything else with these confidence tokens, I'm going to use my token to roll again. and see, we get, oh, we only got 2. Now that's fantastic. We did an absolute ton of damage. We didn't critical it. I was hoping we'd be able to critical it. In order to critical it, we would have to complete this red ring. If you see that there, that would be another quarter of this completed. So if I would have rolled the other one of these, that would have completed the top part of this, causing the critical action to happen, which means I could perform a bonus attack, and I'm 4 spaces away from the other enemy. Oh, actually, I don't think I could actually hit him. I'll show you in a second why. These dice are done. We have managed to destroy both of those aliens. Now, the problem is we have to do a noise roll. For each weapon, it's +1. There are a total of 3 blips on the board. We're still, even though we're in the red area, we are still rolling white dice for our noise. Let's roll these up and see what we got 1 potential. I am totally canceling that with this, but I still have to move 2 blips towards me. I'm going to move this one and that one. Now, one thing I didn't notice, there's a lot going on with this that I have to remember, is this gun is also devastating. So if I ever roll a crit roll on the dice, I get to add in another die. So we did roll a crit, so I'm just going to roll in this extra die and see how it goes. I didn't get it. I was looking only for a crit symbol because we already had one and we've already destroyed this enemy. But I just thought it'd be kind of fun to maybe get that. But do know that the devastating is you get to roll an extra die of the color that you got the crit roll on. That's it for his turn. No, it's not. He still gets to move. One thing I didn't talk about was line of sight. In this game, you look at the corner of your square and the corner of any square of the enemy to see if you have line of sight. As long as it doesn't go through anything, you can see that enemy. Also, remember I said, oh, I'd be able to make a bonus attack. Oh, wait, I can't. The reason why is because our weapon only has 4 range. And you still, even though I have a line of sight from here to here, being able to see him without a problem, I have to still count my range in a cardinal direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I wouldn't have the range to be able to get this enemy. So with that, I think it's time to just do some moves. I'm going to do a move with 2 noise and a 2 move to gain 1 of our stress tokens. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 2 right there. And at this point, we are going to gain 1 stress, going to 3 and roll up our noise. We have 3 blips on the board. So roll these up and see how this goes. Hopefully not too bad. We got 1 potential out of all of that. I do not have any discipline in there, so I have to move one of these towards me. I think we'll move this token that way. At the end of his turn, he's going to drop these 2 right onto that tactical redeployment. And we'll move all of these tokens into here. This seems a little absurd, but here you go. So many tokens for our next player. Wow, I can't even imagine. He's got 4 rerolls, and we've got 4 expertise and 2 discipline. Oofta, that's an absolute ton of tokens. With all those tokens in the pool, I think it's time for our special ops player to go. This character is going to make an attack. Now, it does have an ability, or the bad guy, I should say, has an ability, these Grim, that if you attack a person adjacent, you're going to gain 1 stress. So she is going to gain 1 stress, but she's also going to gain 1 adrenaline for this attack. So she's going to go up to here. Now, I have to be careful. Remember, I don't want to cross those thresholds or I could potentially gain a stress breakdown. So we'll have to deal with that later. We're going to make our attack first, and we're going to use our gun. This thing is going to be super. The dumb gun, the polymer rifle here. I get to roll 2 red dice, and I automatically get a confidence token in the pool, but I have a whole ton of those. Plus, I do have 5 more stress, so I get to roll an extra red dice. So we're going to roll 4 dice and hope for the best. Oh, sorry, 3 dice. Let's see if we can take this out. What I really like is a critical. Oh, look at that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. That is enough. The anatomy threshold is 4, so we have wounded this enemy, but I think I want to try to get that that critical. So we're going to roll. Oh, I wonder if I've got, no, I do not. I've got linear and confidence. Confidence 1 is the ability to be able to use that 1 up there. And heavy means I have to use a full reload to reload it, plus a couple other things. Let's roll this die. I'm going to use the confidence that is on that gun and see how this goes. Oh, I didn't get the extra critical. I was hoping for the critical, but that's okay. We were able to take out this grin, and there are 3 blips on the board, so the wound ability where there is at least 2 grin or blips on the board, if there's less, sorry, than 2 grin or blips on the board, immediately spawn a blip. That is not going to take place. We were able to take that guy out. Now we do have a micro problem here, a little small problem. I don't want to use any stress, or else I'm going to find myself Breaking that threshold. Oh, another thing I had to do was spend 1 bullet in order to shoot that guy. So we did that. We're going to use our move cards. We're going to use a move 3 to move 1, 2, 3 and roll for noise. And then we're going to use a move 2, I think, to be able to move again using noise. Oh, I'm sorry, it's this side. 3 and 2. So we're going to use both of those. So we're going to roll 2 noise rolls. The first one is going to happen right there. We'll take our 3 dice, roll these up, see how we do. We got 3 potentials. Okay, we're going to re-roll 3 dice. I do have 3 confidence tokens in the pool, so we're going to choose the dice to roll. And like I said earlier, you can't re-roll 1 die, then re-roll another die, and then choose to roll another die. You have to choose all the dice you want to roll at one time. Okay, now we have 2 of these. Those I can handle. I've got 1, 2 tokens. I can stop all of the noise from happening, which is absolutely awesome. At this point, I'm now going to do my move 2, 1, 2 to right here, and I'm going to use the noise roll again. Let's see how we do. I've got one that I can't do anything about, so I am going to use my last confidence token to re-roll this and see how it goes. We got no noise at all. We were able to successfully shoot that guy and run. Oh, except for one small problem. The gun itself chose noise, so I have to do the noise roll for the gun too. So I should have made a noise roll from right here is what we should have done. And this is +1, so that means that this would have been 2. So I'm just going to move both those tokens down 1 each to come after me. And that's going to be the end of our turn. And on top of that, we get to put a bunch of tokens into the pool. Her adrenaline puts herself to 2 discipline, a confidence, and an expertise, shown here on those 3 areas. So we'll place those into the incoming pool. We're going to turn these expertise tokens, which is 2, 3, 4, into this one right here. So we have 2, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6. I'm going to flip this one over. So we now have 6 there. I'm also going to use 1 charge from this to recover 3 stress. 1, 2, 3. That brings her stress down to 1. That's going to be the end of her turn. And we'll move into Papa's turn here. Our what do you call it? The security division. Security division, it's time to get going. We need to move into the next area. So he's going to move 2 and gain 1 stress. Then he's going to move 2 more and cause noise. And then we'll see what we have to do with that card. Something might happen. With the 2 noise, we're going to move 1, 2. I'm going to move just like that. One thing I do want to do, I'm going to back up a little bit. I had a ton of expertise tokens in my pool for the active character from the last turn. I'm not going to put 2 of them onto our tactical redeployment. Instead, I'm going to use her ability that says, go check it out. Move another spacer 1 space. I'm going to do that. I'm going to move this spacer 1 space to the left here so that we're ready to go. And before we go too much farther, I do want to say I did make an error while doing this part of the gameplay. When you land on these triangles, you are supposed to then reveal the next part of the map. So I should have revealed it a long time ago when she stepped onto this point right here. So that's my fault. We're just going to continue playing, but do understand that at least in the prototype at this point, if you step on these triangles, you would have to reveal that next map. And sadly, I didn't do that. I'm sure there's a subtitle earlier in the video that probably told you that, but I just want to make sure that it's clear coming to this point. So since he is here on the arrow, I will reveal the map now and we'll deal with the reading from the lore book. The solar ring corridor drowns in twilight. The recycled air is heavy, dry, and all you can smell is your own sweat. Strange noises echo through the ducts, knocks, knuckles cracking. The radial elevator lies just ahead. If you have not already opened Location Book 2 to page 2 and connect it to your current location, place new blips, discovery tokens, and anomalous readings as shown in the diagram below. Here is the new book, so we'll place all our stuff out for this area and see what happens. I do want to mention that these 2 tokens right here are going to be replaced by random engrams as accordance to the card that had to do with our objectives. Our second objective states that if you have any anomalous readings, that you're going to turn them into the what do you call it? Engrams. And this, we're reading from here because of this. When you're in a space with a connecting location symbol, see 112 in the Mythos book. discoveries. Whenever you enter a space with a number discovery, move the token. We already talked about that. Okay, just want to make sure we got everything covered here. Let's set out our new book. Now that we have the new map on the board, something I do want to show off, which I did get a lot of comments in previous videos saying this was very helpful, is what to expect if you were to try to put this on your table. This right here shows the two map books, so you're going to have both of those available to you. You do have your enemy sheet, and then you have your incoming and the active pool, and of course all four of our characters. Now, something that would be beneficial going forward with this game as it goes to production, I'm not sure if they've thought about this, is making this a player board, because these can slide around kind of bit and you may lose your spot as to where you are with your adrenaline marker and such. So that might be something to maybe in the future think about. If one of the things I might send back to Into the Unknown as something about this game that may help in the future is maybe having individual little player boards that people can use to help track this. This is really cool because it keeps track of everything, but the cards themselves I think would be nice to have a secure location as well. But I hope this helps people realize kind of what to expect when you do think about backing this game and how much space it's going to take up. Now, this is again a prototype, so this is subject to change as to how much this is going to cover on a table, but for a general dungeon crawler, this is pretty standard for the amount of area a game will cover. Now, of course, all the things over in the corner here, these can be off to the side. They don't have to be on your table, but for the most part, what you see in the center here is probably what you're going to want to have on your table while you're playing the game. Let's continue with Papa's turn. This is going to be something else. I can go down here, but there's a door here. I didn't expect that. So I could turn back up around. But if you notice there's a console right here, I'm going to guess just like the console in our previous area over here, this one may open one of these doors, if not all the doors. So we're hoping that is the plan here. So I'm going to send Papa in this direction. He does have two more cards left he can play. One of them is he can move one space, or the other one he can move two spaces and make noise. I think moving two spaces would be the worst idea here. So he is going to move. I wish I had my move 3, but I used that card already to have a move 2 with stress. So I can't use my move 3 card. I really wish I could, because I'd love to get to this thing right here, but I cannot. So we're going to move 1, 2, and as I move over this, I am going to use a fast scavenge action by spending my discipline in order to pick that up. And since we're still in the red, we're going to be rolling 3 white dice. Oh no, there's a ton of them now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out there. We have to roll 5 dice. Oofta, maybe I shouldn't have used the noise one. Oh well, here we go. Let's roll up our noise dice. See, we only have 2. That's pretty good. I'm going to stop one of them, and then I'm going to re-roll the other with my confidence token. Let's see what we get here. Oh, we still have 1. We have to move one space. Okay, I think we're okay about being able to move 1. The one I'm going to move is this one, and now I understand where I should have placed this blip. If you notice, both of these are in the center here, so you're not supposed to place them in the center, you have to place them on nodes. I did not understand that this was pointing to this node here, but now seeing the other book, it totally makes sense. So good thing was I was spawning them kind of correctly. I was spawning them over here. Good to know that that's where it's supposed to go, so now I'm going to move this blip 1 space in that direction. At this point, I'm going to do something maybe a little rash. I'm going to use an exert action. So I'm going to use this, I'm going to gain an exert card, and I'm going to use one of my cards and flip it to be able to use the other action. And this one says I can move 1 space. So that does allow me to get to that discovery token, which will be awesome. And then we're going to use this ability here to catch our breath. What that is going to be able to do is remove the exert card after we use it. So when you use an exert card, you're going to read the back of it. It says, do not clear this card at the start of your turn. This card is considered a played action card. Remember, you can only play 3 action cards per turn. To cancel this card, perform a catch your breath action. So actually I can't get rid of it because it's going to be considered a played action card. So that exert card is going to go right there after turning this card over. So I'll have to wait till next turn in order to use my catch my breath in order to get rid of that exert card. You can always exert more. You can exert up to 3 times, but if you have 3 exert cards in your tableau here, or your area where you're playing your cards, that is a loss condition. Now to play an exert card, I do have to take 2 stress, which is also pushing up my stress kind of bit. So we'll have to figure out a way to help him with that. Oh, I think I found one. I'm going to use our last piece of our Morpheus protocol here to remove 3 stress and then flip this card back over. So we'll have to start working on getting that back. We'll go back down to 4. That's going to be his turn, but he does still get to move 1 more space and reveal the card number 5. Let's remove that token and check out what card 5 is. Hopefully it's not another another solar flare. I'm done with solar flares because this poor guy is dazed, which also I get to remove because it's the end of his turn. So we get to remove the dazed card, but well, it's not the end of his turn yet. I got to check out what this is. Let's see what this says. What is it? Reactivation. You stop realizing the hatch before you has been hard locked from the outside. As you turn back towards the way you came, something rises from the overgrown floor. You are ambushed and by an immobilized lone automata. Reveal the dark side of the sun demo card 17 and place a single automa miniature on space 2A of the current location page SR2. Are you kidding me? I just exerted to do this. I have no way of dealing with this guy. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So if it tells you to put it on 2A, this is where this is going to come into play. You're going to line this up. This is A, and this would be the number 2. It is right behind him. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. All right, so like I would put this here, and I would line this up here, and we'd have 2A. That would be our spot right there for him to spawn in on. And now let's see what this guy can do. Here's Discovery Card 17. It says Immobilize Automa. Speed 0. Anatomy threshold is 4. The Automa targets the closest spacer within reach 2. It attacks with 2 red dice. If 3+ damage was dealt, gain the Insidious Infection Condition card and 1 infection token. Wound. Gain a Hack Tool gear card. Door C2 immediately opens. The malfunctioning Service Automa lunges at you. The fungi overgrowth is vibrating nervously. So if you notice, this thing has some of this like growth on it, which is kind of cool. This is supposed to be kind of a robot that's kind of infected with these like fungus that are kind of attached itself to it. Sadly, I'm sorry I don't have any of this painted up. Normally I do paint up all my miniatures, but I wanted to get this game out as fast as I could, so I haven't had a chance to paint this up yet. So wow, that's pretty awesome. Okay, now I think this makes a surprise attack on me if I remember reading it. It does say you are ambushed by an immobilized lone automa. So an ambush does occur here. Let's roll our 2 dice and see how much damage he did. And of course I used all of my tokens. Oh no, I take 1, 2 damage. The rest of these are all, this is a half success. So without the other half, it's not going to be a success. And the other ones are potential. So I only take 2 damage. Lucky for us, we did move our stress down 3, 1, 2, 3. Otherwise we'd be right on top of our stress right now. Let's move our token to 7. And now he's kind of in a world of hurt because I have an exert card that I was planning to get rid of with my catch my breath, but I don't think I can catch my breath anymore because now I got to take this guy out. So that exert card is going to be with me for a little while. I also did not do an adrenaline action, so I don't have anything coming into my active pool for my scientist, but I think that's going to be okay. There's nothing in front of us, well, at the moment, that we have to worry about, and hopefully it stays that way. Before we move into our scientist turn, I do want to just say that that is one of my favorite things that happens in dungeon crawlers and exploration games, and I love it when games do this, is they have those type of tokens here that can trigger amazing things that happen in the game. It's not just, okay, you're here, go to there, and anything in the way you just fight. No, there are all these neat little exploration tokens and secondary objectives you have to try to complete that really makes the game come alive and gives you this haunting feeling as you're coming through the ship. Do I want to trigger that token? I thought the token would open this door, but nope, instead it spawned this guy, which eventually opened the door, but that's just absolutely amazing. He comes out, surprises us, attacks us. He's going to attack us again on his turn, unless I can get somebody down here to shoot this. Spoiler alert, that's not going to happen. He's going to get hit again. Because we're going to have our scientist move next, and our scientist is going to go use that terminal right up here. So we're going to move 2 with her and gain 1 stress. So she's going to move, oh, before she does, oh, I don't have any active tokens. Oh, wait, maybe I might rethink this. I do have this card that gives me the ability with an expertise token, which he did have. I can use it to gain an adrenaline, and I am going to do that with our security guard Papa, which allows him to drop an expertise. Whoops, that's not expertise. This is an expertise and 2 disciplines into the incoming pool, so that I do have these because I need one of those. And the reason I need it is because I am right now adjacent to our ops division character, and I want to use my expertise to use I am not a medic. An adjacent spacer may gains 2 health, bringing her health total back up to 7. The reason I want to do that is because she was hurt pretty bad. So that is why I want to do that. Okay, now we're going to use our 2 and move with our, we're going to gain 1 stress. I think I'm going to gain the stress already. If I didn't, we'll move it after I do my 2 move. So she will move 1 Oh, she has to move 3. 1, 2, 3. So she's actually going to use the move 3 card without gaining that stress. So she is still going to be at 2 stress. That is a confirm. We're going to use our 3 movement and roll for noise here. Or I could do 2 with the stress and movement for 1. Oh, that blip is awfully close, but I can move any of the blips I want to. But there's a lot of them out there. I think we're going to go blipless. I think she's going to move blipless. That's going to be the plan here. Let's see if she can do it. She's going to move 2 spaces with the stress, and then she's going to move 1 space without the stress. And then she's going to scavenge with her adrenaline action to activate that console right there. So I'm going to move my adrenaline up to 5, and she is going to take that stress to 3. All right, I think that's everything. I'm going to line everything up here. There we go. So I am going to be gaining a total of 1 confidence, 2 expertise, and a discipline. You find a working console with access to emergency quarantine procedures. I can open doors. You may open door C1, C2 if I want to. That is not, oh, C1, okay. Okay. You may open B1, B2, or both. And if you do, you'd use a search action. I make noise roll. All right, or I can vent the rooms, yellow, red, or blue, removing any blips and intruders inside. A room can be vented only if there's no spacer inside. If you search, make a noise roll. So here's the deal. There are no blips in the yellow, red. I think this is the red room. Is this the red room? Is this even a red room? Maybe it's not a room. Oh, this is the blue room, yellow, blue, and red. The red room is back here. And so I don't think I can vent this one because there are, I wonder how that works. Because would the door a door close back here, giving us the ability to vent this room? Because I kind of removed that door already. But anyway, I can't vent these rooms. There's no reason to. There's no blips or intruders in any of that. This is C2 down here. This one is A2, and this one is C1. So I could get rid of C1 and C2, though I know that is going to go away when I kill this guy. And this one, do I really want to go get all that stuff? Or do I just want to kind of run towards this exit to get out of here? Because I'm getting kind of worried about all these blips on the board and the fact that we're moving from red to black eventually in a couple turns here. It's a tough call. I think I'm actually going to keep those closed, and we're just going to continue on. I'm not going to have to roll a noise roll because I'm not going to take advantage of that console. Oh, who am I kidding? We're going to try to get in there. I'm going to remove these 2 doors, and we're going to do a noise roll. This is going to be bad. I'm going to roll 5 dice. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blips. There's 6 blips. I'm going to roll 1 less dice out there. 1, 2, 3. I think I forgot about the blip. There's a blip way over here I think I forgot about. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to roll 6 dice, and I'll tell you which blips are going to be moving. Oh, I only have to move 2, and I've got 2 of these tokens here. We're going to cover up both of those symbols so nothing's moved. Look at all those criticals. Oh my gosh, that would have been so fun to have. All right, that's the end of our scientist's turn. At this point, we are going to go into the intruder phase. And look at that guy. The first thing that happens for our intruder phase is our intruder will activate, so he'll roll 2 red dice again against that person. Here we go. This is going to be super bad. Hopefully I get the same roll I did last time. Well, I did. That's absolutely hilarious. I got 2 more wounds against him. I'm getting closer to that threshold where I can't use any more stress without taking a stress, what do you call it? The stress breakdown. With that complete, we now have to scan our card. And the last person to make noise in this environment is our special ops character. The other characters did not make any noise at all that moved after she did. So we're going to stick our card in here and see what we have found. Now, of course, we are using the red card this time. And we've got, oh my gosh, look at all of them moving around. They're all going to come after her. Oofda. Oh no, I think they still patrol when it comes to the red. They no longer patrol. They actually turn to face the person with the noise and go after them. So they are all facing in the correct direction now. All right, so the upper quadrant where there aren't any are going to move 3. This is going to move them 4 in that direction. Oh my gosh, 4, that's out of control. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one comes this way, and then 1, oh no, wait, I lied. This one is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to move in a zigzag pattern towards the person. So again, this one's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of next to this door. I wonder if I can move that differently. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's going to end next to that door. Okay, it's a little out of control there, but there we go. Okay, that one's next to the door. Perfect. All right, then Well, how far did that one move? It's supposed to move 4. So the bottom one also moves 4. So we move the top one and this one. Now, of course, sadly, we'll deal with that blip in just a second. That's going to be the one that's going to get us. We do have to move the upper part 3 and the bottom part 3 as well. 1, 2, 3. Let's remove this card here to right there. And this one's going to move 1, 2, 3. It's going to slide in just like that. Oh my gosh, this just got real. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. All right. Our characters need to start cooking. Let's see what we do here. This one. Oh, the bottom one. This one up here. 1, 2. I'm trying to use a cool slang that my teenagers taught me. All right. This one is going to run into our special ops character. Let's see what's happened. Oh, it's nothing. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. We don't have to worry about that. All right, that's it. Oh, maybe we do need to start to get going here. We don't have time to search that room. Oh, am I kidding? You know I'm going to search that room. That's it. The intruders have finished. Oh, wait, I don't think so. There's still one more. I forgot to move this one. That one is going to move 3 spaces as well. So let's move this one. 1, 2, 3, just like that. Okay. Hoofda! Look at all those blips on the board. And if you thought that was bad, we're going to spawn not only one more blip onto the board next to the person, the closest noise person, which I know who that is, and it's going to be right in the middle of the board. I'll show you in just a second. We have to resolve this blip. And from what I understand, if a blip is on here, this is an intruder that has, like, it's almost like in the movie Aliens where the alien came from underneath the thing and grabbed Hudson. You didn't know it was there. This is a surprise alien that is actually going to be right next to our character. Oh, it is. No, it's a white one. We have to spawn a white. Oh, no, it's only one. We don't have to spawn one. Hoofda! We'll have to spawn one bad guy. All right, let's go spawn him. So because there was a blip on there, I have to spawn an enemy adjacent to the person who last made noise. That's her. Oh boy. Okay, we have a lot of bad things happening. If we have to move any of these blips towards our people, that's even more people that are going to have to deal with this. Oh man, this is out of control. I am going to spawn it right here. That's my plan, because then I can maybe get around these blips here. That's going to be for this engineer, so I can get the engineer out. Remember, this engineer has our key card. We have to get him to the elevator, I believe. Of course, I don't know, but I'm guessing that's the deal. Okay, hoofda. That's a lot. Oh, and I still have to spawn one more blip. Okay, we'll spawn one more blip over here, up on the top there, because it has to be spawned next to the person with the most noise, which is going to be that one. Okay, good news. When you spawn a blip onto a blip, they have to be spawned into one of these, and it has to be empty. This one already has one, so you have to spawn one in the closest place to this character. That is over there. That's the closest spawn point to this character that's not occupied. This one is already occupied. If all of them would have been occupied, then you would spawn it at the closest one to the character and then move it one space to symbolize that you have to, because they can't have multiples in the same space. All right. Oh, that enemy turn is done. Now we have to deal with the consequences. This could be bad, but we have to take out that guy. We're going to use our special ops character first. She's going to first shoot this gun at this thing. She's going to spend her last bullet that she has to shoot that guy in the face. She's going to perform an attack action, which is going to be an adrenaline action, adding more stuff to our pool, but she is getting pretty close to the top of her adrenaline point. Remember, if you ever get to 9, your heart explodes from the amount of adrenaline you have and you die. So I'm going to add all of these to the spacer pool, the incoming one, and then we're going to make our attack. I'm not too worried about taking this guy out. I do get 1 stress, so she's going to go to 2 stress because she is attacking when this person is adjacent. I'm not too worried about taking this guy out because it only has an anatomy threshold of 4, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got plenty. 4, actually. I only got 4. I only got 4. Okay, well, good news. We got this guy. He's going to be removed from the board. We did wound him. The effect for wounding the monster is not going to come into effect because there are more than 2 grin or blips on the board for sure. So that's the end of her action. I do have to roll for noise, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blips out there. 2, 4, 6, 7, exactly the amount of dice I have. We're going to roll all of our dice and see what we get here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, a billion. We got a billion. I'm going to re-roll one of these dice. We're going to re-roll this one. And then hopefully get nothing on it. Oh no, we got something. Okay, I'm going to have to spend 2 of my discipline to stop these, and then we're going to have to trigger 3 blips. And I just realized the gun is also going to give us an extra 1, so we're triggering 4. 1, 2, 3, oh no, 4? Okay, that's good. Oh boy, this room is starting to get less appealing as the game goes on here. On top of that, we have a discovery card here that states, reveal this card when somebody causes 3+ noise during a single roll. So we're going to flip this over. It says, be very quiet. You have drawn the ire of the thing that perches on the veiled sun at your own peril. It emerges from the light, radiant, dripping liquid metal, to the hidden song notes of your built-in Geiger counters. The intruder, known as Mothman, performs a flash attack against the spacer who made the noise. Place the Mothman miniature adjacent to the spacer, draw a single Mothman AI2 card, and reveal it against the target. Then place the Mothman miniature on space with the exclamation point of the countdown track. And see adversary rules for details. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, that's bad. We'll place the miniature of the Mothman, which is this right here, adjacent to our person. Look at how much he towers over everybody. Oh, this is going to be awesome. All right, then we have the AI2 deck. Okay, this is absolutely, I have absolutely no idea what any of this is. I didn't even look into any of how this works because this is all part of the boss encounter that was going to be in the next video. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what this says. Stare of 10,000 suns. Target the last to noise, which is her. Target highest adrenaline. Well, it's going to be her. I roll a white and black. If I have 4+ stress, it's lethal. Your eyes lock. It's too late. If damage was dealt, radiation 2. If max damage was dealt, start each run or incursion with the blinded condition card. Note it. And it has lure 2. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on in this card. Let's take a look at each one of these. Well, first off, we're going to have to deal with this. It's going to target me. I'm going to have to roll a white and black die. I do have 4+ stress. No, I only have 2 with her, so it is not going to be a lethal attack. And so if damage was dealt, I'm going to get radiation. If I have 2 critical, if max damage was dealt, start each run with an incursion with blind condition. Okay, so all I have to do is roll and hopefully not get 2 criticals. Good news, I just healed this character. Bad news, this character is taking 4 more damage. And I don't have any way to stop that because I used all the tokens I had to try to prevent myself from dealing with noise. Suffering 4 damage is going to drop us 1, 2, 3, 4. We are 1 away. If these 2 ever meet or pass each other, we will suffer a stress breakdown. So that is where we stand with that attack. Now that it is done its flash attack, which is pretty awesome, I have to place this here on the 1 space of the countdown track. This has now become our adversary. If we do reach this position on the track, this monster will spawn, this boss monster, and it becomes our adversary for this map. As we play through the rest of this mission, if we reach this point as well, we'll be placing this miniature onto the board, spawning it, and it will come at us, and it will be very bad. So we don't want to have that happen. So things are unbelievably ramped up. This is super cool how this has gotten so tight. So we actually made it through the entire first part of the map without much problem. Maybe I shouldn't have dawdled so much in there trying to get some cool things. I should have really took maybe half of the white to get there and half the white into this map here, because there's so many things I don't think we're going to get to see because, wow, there's not much left we can do except to get to the end. Now that we've completed that fiasco, so many cool things, we're going to move into our turn. I'm going to start with Papa here. Papa does have that exert card, so he can only play 2 actions, and the exert card is considered the first action played. So at this point, I'm going to shoot that guy in front of me, and then we're going to try to move. So we'll figure out what our move card is after we make the attack. The attack is going to be an adrenaline action, so we're going to move our adrenaline marker up 1, throwing a bunch of tokens into the token pool here. It looks like we've got 3 different discipline tokens and a expertise token. So we'll put those into the incoming spot here and make our attack with our gun, paying 1 bullet. I do have 5 adrenaline, so I get an extra die roll here. I got 1, 2, 3. Oh, it has a value of 4. So the good news is this one does have a confidence built into it, so I do get to make a reroll. We're going to reroll as half success here and hopefully make it. There we go. That's so much better. Oh my gosh, we got 2 criticals. So we actually might have criticaled this thing. Oh no, it only has 1 critical. I needed 3 criticals to cause the critical action to happen. But it wouldn't have mattered too much because it just means I get a bonus attack. Well, actually, I don't even know what it is against this thing. It would be against the Grin, but this is a special character that's kind of in here. So I did 4 or more of the anatomy threshold, so I was able to destroy this monstrosity on the board, which is absolutely awesome. Still loving things like this in the game. So cool. All right, that guy's done. Now I do have to perform a noise roll, and there are 7 blips on the board, so we're gonna have to grab 7 white dice. If there were 8, I'd have to put a red dice in here, which would be absolutely terrible. So we're gonna roll these up, see how it goes, and because I use my gun, this is +1, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Really, 4? Come on, this is amazing. All right, I'm going to re-roll this die with my confidence token to nothing. Okay, that's fantastic. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, and I do have 2 tokens here, which is going to stop 2 of these, meaning we are only going to have 1 activate. And there is a second one as well because the gun itself is a +1 noise gun. So we're going to have 2 blips move. Interestingly, I'm actually going to move these 2 down 1 to try to chase him because he does have this ability called Hey Ugly. Make it a noise roll, 2 dice noise roll, which means I could start moving some of these towards him and away from our main group, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to drop our 2 expertise tokens onto that card, move all these into the active pool, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we need 8. So if I can get 1 more expertise token, which is probably going to be that one, onto this card, that would be fantastic. Having defeated that guy, I did get a hack tool. It has 3 charges, and then when I use a terminal or console, I can do that without suffering any cost. I'm going to equip that over the other card we have here, the standard communication. I don't think I'm going to need that, so I'm going to put this into my backpack. I have 3 things in my backpack, so that is available. I am going to place 3 charges down onto that card, and I can use terminals now and not have to worry about them being in action causing noise. Maybe that would be awesome. The final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this engram. This is going to lower my stress by 2 to bring it to 2 and discard it. Now that means I'm not going to get the resources when I extract from here to be able to improve my character or my weapons or be able to gain new weapons or suits or things of that nature. Again, a lot of the things that have to do with crafting and things aren't fully explained in the prototype rules, but just know there's a huge section that's going to be coming that has to do with how these the different tokens are going to work. Also, I do want to mention that all these different actions that I'm doing here, scout, scavenge, reload, and rationalize, attack, all these different things, it does say in the rules that in the full game, there's going to be even more things you can do with each one of these type of actions, but the ones we're using right now are just kind of the basic versions of those. I do have 1 more action I can do because of my exert card. I think we're going to just move 2 and gain a stress. I'm done rolling noise rolls. So we're going to move those up to 3 here. And we're going to move 1, 2 down this little corridor. He's all by himself. Juliet's going to go next. The first thing Juliet's going to do is a full reload. This is an adrenaline action. So we're going to move our adrenaline up 1, dumping an absolute ton of tokens into our spacer pool and get back our 2 bullets. So we'll put them back onto our gun. We're going to need those, I'm pretty sure. Then I'm going to, this is going to be a bad idea, but I think it'll still turn out okay. I'm going to move 1 and then move 2. That is what we're going to do. Now, the interesting thing is that means I'm going to gain a stress, which is going to meet or pass our wound total. So I mean, we're going to suffer a stress breakdown. I think this should be okay. I've never seen these cards. We'll see what this does. We shuffle them all up and we're going to draw a stress breakdown card and see what's happened to us. Now, of course, I also have to move myself, so we'll do that first and then resolve that card. We're moving 1, 2, 3, so we can be adjacent to our healer, I guess. Who says that she's not a medic, but she kind of is in this situation. So we're going to reveal our stress breakdown card now. It says Paranoia. Use at the end of your turn, you cannot use spacer tokens. Until the end of your turn, you cannot use spacer tokens. Well, that's okay. I wasn't planning to use any anyway. At the start of your next turn, this card, turn this card upside down. Until the end of the extraction, you gain the snap out of it effect. So the way these cards work is they're dual-sided as you can see here. The first thing is something you have to suffer. So this actually isn't too bad because I'm not using any spacer tokens. Actually, I'd like to use one, but I can't. But then afterwards, we're going to snap out of this, and at the end of your turn, place a confidence token token in the incoming pool. So it actually gives a small benefit to our character that has suffered a stress breakdown. Now, I'm sure not all of them are going to have good, and all of them are going to, in theory, have a bad consequence on the top, but I'm not sure how good everything is. Stress breakdowns aren't the greatest thing, but if you can survive them, it does give you a little bit of advantage moving into the rest of the game. It's going to be our scientist's turn first. I'm going to use this token right here to say I am not a medic. I'm going to heal Juliet 2 points of damage, which brings her back to 5. That does separate the yellow and red tracks, but I believe you still keep your card, and I don't believe you gain another one if they cross again. I could be wrong about that, but I believe that's how that works. It's going to be her turn. We have to figure out what we want to do with all of our cards now. We're going to move 3 spaces and then move 1 space, so we only have to roll our noise once. I don't know if I want to roll noise. Noise is bad right now. 1, 2, 3. I can move a total of 3 spaces without doing noise. 1, 2, 3, which is not going to be enough. We need to move fast. We're going to move 4. That's still enough to only move 3 plus, what's this one? Yeah, that one's a noise space. I can do 2 and 2. Let's do 2 and 2, and that still only does 1 noise, but it gains a stress. I don't know why I'd want to gain a stress when I can move 3 and 1, right? So let's move 3 and 1 and not gain any stress. That's a better plan. And then if everything goes according to plan, I don't have to deal with any bad things, I might rearm, which is going to be able to use to switch out these 2 items here from my backpack. I think I want to get a better, I want to get this out, because using this as a medic is not enough. I've got 4 health here I can do to somebody when the time comes. We'll move 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm 1 away from that. I don't think that's good. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. That's a better spot to do it, because now I'm at least a little bit away from that token in case it moves down. There are still 7 blips on the board, so we'll roll all of our dice here and see how we do. We actually did very well. There's only 1 right there. I'm going to use that token just to stop it. There we go. We didn't have to worry about our noise. That's fantastic. When performing a rearm action, it's not a adrenaline action. It's just a normal action, so I don't get to move my adrenaline up, which means I'm not putting any tokens in the token pool. I think that's going to be fine. I'm going to switch these 2 out. The other thing it would do is if you ever had cards that exhaust, it would also unexhaust all of your cards. I don't have any exhaust cards at this point, but if I did, that would also help that as well. Now remember, I can only ever have one of these equipped to my specific gear card here, but as we go through, we might find one that are able to equip more things to our suit, which will be able to help us, so then we could actually have both of these out like this, but we don't. So I'm going to keep this sim injector out in case I need to heal somebody, which probably is going to be our ops division again. I don't get to put any tokens in the pool, but I think that will be okay. The only thing I'm worried about is noise. I do get to drop this here, and that's going to be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is going to be enough to flip this card. This card now states perform a move 3 action, make noise, deactivate when you use the last charge, immediately flip this card. So we'll put a charge onto there. It's only 1, so we only get to use that once. So now I can start powering up that one again if I wish to. This person is going to probably just move a little bit and then perform a rationalize action to drop my stress down a little bit. Let's see here, how far do I want to move? This is probably going to be bad. We want to move 5. I'm going to move 5, rolling for noise all over the place, and see how this goes. Now I have no tokens in the active pool. Was that a good idea? I do have this. This allows me to put 2 tokens into a spacer pool. I'm going to put 2 discipline tokens into my active pool because I'm a little afraid that I'm going to be rolling a lot of noise and these things are going to be moving all over the place. Let's move ourselves 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to right there. And then we have double noise roll. Oh no! I'm going to stop 2 of those, but 2 blips are going to move. Let's just roll our second one now, and then we'll move the blips as we can. So we're going to move a total of 4 blips. But they are 2 different blips, 2 different times. So I'm going to move this one 1, and then I'm going to move it 1. I'm going to move this one 1 and 1. Those will be the 2 blips I move. Actually, no, I'm going to move this one back. And I'm going to move this blip up. After performing my rationalize action at the end, it is an adrenaline action. I get my stress is at 1. I now get to slide all of these tokens into the active pool, which is out of control. This engineer can drop a ton of cool tokens into that pool. Our engineer is considered the one that is the last person to be noisy. So we're going to insert our new card, the red card, into our scanner and see what happens. Look at all those swirlies. Those are lots of swirly squirrelies. I don't like any swirly squirrelies. This guy is super dead. Let's see where these all go. All right, so we'll start with the the one, oh my gosh, this is absolutely so bad. We're going to start with the upper quadrant up here, which is going to be pretty much these three. They're going to move, as we can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 squigglies. They're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 to right there. 1, 2, 3, 4 to right here. This one's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 and get her. This one's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 and also get, now this isn't the person it's going after. It's going after this one, but it's still going to stop in that square. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the bottom one. The bottom might not be 4. Let's see what it is. It's 4. It's 4. So this one gets there. That's fantastic. Next, we have the upper quadrant, which is going to be up there. That one right there is going to move 3. 1, 2, 3 to right here. And then this bottom one is going to move 3. 1, 2, 3. Now it does come in contact with this person here. So I believe that if there is something here, it's going to spawn and attack that person. These two are going to spawn and probably attack this person, even though that's the person that had the most what do you call it, noise, because the enemies are going to target the closest spacer. But first we got to see what we got. We got, oh no, a unique one. That's gonna be absolutely terrible. Then we got, oh, we only got one here because we're not in the black, so we only have one enemy. So far we're fighting 2. Let's see what this one is. Oh, this one I threw around. Oh, this is nothing. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so we got lucky and nothing's there, but we have 2 unique ones that are going to be attacking our ops character. I lied, one unique one. The other one is just a normal one. So we'll draw our card for our unique one. We'll take it just from the bottom here. What do we got? We got legs. This one has long legs, 2 more movement and 1 more anatomy threshold, and it causes knockback if it can complete its critical. That's fantastic. We'll put that in the 1 category, put a 1 out on the board, and then we'll put this one right here, just like that. There we go. These guys are facing this direction. Now, I know I said facing can matter in this game, but I haven't really come across anything that really causes the causes any of the what do you call it, being behind or in front. There's nothing that I've really noticed yet that causes that. It causes any difference in attacks, but as you go forward in the game, there might be things that do. There we go, that's all done. And that's nothing. Okay, so we only have 2 we have to deal with, which still is 2 more than I want to deal with. Both of these enemies are going to attack with the one that is adjacent is going to attack with 2 red and a white. We'll see how this goes. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 damage to our Spec Ops character. So we'll move our marker down. And that was out of control. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, like I said, they've already crossed and we already have one of our cards here. I don't believe you get multiple cards. That's the first attack. Now this other one should have been placed adjacent to the spacer. Even though these blips stopped here on the sides, it has to be placed adjacent to a spacer and it's going to attack. These bad guys are no joke. I should be working more on light sources than anything. Okay, so I only got hit for 1, but that is enough to drop her to 0, which means this character is going to flatline. When you reach this state, you're going to grab the 4 flatline cards, give them a good old truffle shuffle here so that they're all shuffled up nice and shuffled, and then you draw one of these cards. We'll draw this one, and we stick it into our little scanner here and see what happens to our guy. It says, you died. And it says here, roll a 10 side or on a 0, you touch the enormity. What the heck does it say? I can barely read this. You feel your insides fill with burning glorious light. Okay, well I'm dead, but I have to roll a U10 on a 0, you touch the enormity. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so I got a 1 in 10 shot. Let's see how this goes. What do we get? We got a 6. That's not a 10, so our character is dead. So at this point, we'll remove our character. This person is dead, and I'll place down a dead spacer token. In the demo, these really don't do anything, but in future missions and potentially other types of game mechanics that you're doing, these tokens will actually play a role. That is the end of that monstrosity. That was absolutely terrible. Okay, so I did learn a little bit about the game. Deal with the blips. Don't just let them fly into you. That was a bad idea, Barrett. Now, even that flatline card that I did have, I'm going to shuffle that back into this deck so that it is ready for hopefully our next character. Hopefully there isn't another one of these, but we shall see. We'll move into our next turn, which is going to tick this up 1, adding another blip to the board. So I'm going to shuffle my blips up over on the side, and we'll add this one to the board. And this is the closest spot to him, so it'll go right there. All right, I have a plan. It's pretty bad. Let's try this plan. It's a pretty bad plan. I am going to first full reload my gun. I have no bullets in my engineer's gun. He's going to be the first one to activate, so I'll be able to put 2 bullets back into my super awesome gun. Then I am going to use everything I've got. I am going to move 3, move 2, rolling a ton of noise, and then I'm even going to use my tactical redeployment, which is going to allow me to move 3 and do a noise roll. And that's going to then flip this card over because there's only 1 token on it. So that'll have to be re-happen again. We're going to start by moving 3, 1, 2, 3 to right there. We'll roll our noise. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blips on the board. I'm just going to roll them. I'll try to roll them up here without causing too much problems. Are you kidding me? I got 5. I got 5. Why not? I'm going to re-roll 2 of those and see how this goes. I'm going to use all my tokens. Okay, so we have 1. I'm going to use this token here to stop that 1. Oh boy. All right, we have to move 3 blips. I'll move this one 1. This one 1 down, this one 1 over, and this one 1 over as well. Now I'm going to move 2 spaces. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and maybe I didn't need to use all 3 of those. Okay, 1. I need to use 1, then 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we can change this up a little bit. I'm still going to use the 3, but I'm only going to use a move 1 for my second one. So I went 1, 2, 3, then 1, and now 1, 2, 3 to here using the card. And we have to roll for noise again. Hopefully this isn't as bad this time. Okay, it's not even as close to as bad. I've got 2. I have to move 2. I'll just move this one here. And there's 1 off screen. Sorry, I moved that one the last time off screen. I apologize, but we're going to move those like that. We're going to get to this thing. Hopefully this gets us out of here. We're going to check out card number 8 and see what happens. The good thing is, at least he's got the key card, so this is going to be hopefully the way out. Sealed shut. The giant radial elevator door emits faint heat. You try calling it, but the controls are unresponsive. You should be a security override console nearby in the orange clearance section. As you turn to look for it, you hear a hollow knock from one of the ducts. Then knuckles crackle. All right, it says here, move the closest blip on the countdown track 1 space up. This may lead to an instant reveal. Test willpower 2. If success, I gain a health. If I fail, I lose white amount of health. Oh, this is horrible. All right. First off, we move this blip 1 forward. Then we test 1 willpower. I got 1 on the die. And sadly, that is not 2, because I only had 1 willpower, so I'm going to suffer white damage. I suffered none because that's only a half success. And now I have a big problem because I don't know where to go. I thought that was going to be the end. Nope. I guess I better take out some of these bad guys before they get me. So I'm going to shoot with my scientist. I'm going to perform an attack action, which means she is going to gain 1 adrenaline, dropping 1,000,000 things into the spacer pool. But before I do that, I am going to drop these 3 expertise tokens onto this card, I think. And then these are all the ones that are going to slide into the pool here for our scientist. Now, sadly, I can only make 1 attack a turn because I don't have burst on this weapon. So I'm only going to be able to take out 1 of these. And I think I'm going to take out that super soldier, the one with the long legs, because that's no good. I'm going to attack him with my gun. Then we'll figure out how we're going to move around. I get to roll 4 white dice because I am above the 5, and I'm looking to get 4 successes to meet, oh no, I need to get 5 successes to meet the anatomy threshold because he has +1 and we're still in the red. With my 4 white dice, we'll see how we do. I got 2 criticals. That criticals him. That's fantastic because my pistol already has 2 criticals on it. So that means we can complete the critical on this weapon, and doing that allows us to perform a bonus attack. And the range on this weapon is 3, which means that I should have moved 1 before I attacked. So we're going to move 1 before we attack. So I am going to move 1 back here in order to make the attack. I didn't realize, I thought this thing had 4. So we've already used one of our move cards and it doesn't trigger noise or anything. So we're still going to keep that roll. And I'm going to fire again with my 4 dice to try to get this one. Now this one's critical. I'm going to take this guy off the board. That was awesome. Now let's see if we can take that guy out. That'd be so good if we could take him out. Where did this thing come from? is this thing part of the, was this one of their original? I don't know where this blip is. I apologize. I'm just going to set this aside. Maybe it slid in. I don't think it did. I could be wrong. We're going to shoot this one. That's what we're going to do next. Let's get him. Let's roll our 4 dice and see how we do. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not enough to critical, but that's okay. Now, when I make the second attack, I would still have to use an ammo. So we're going to get rid of 2 of our ammo. We have 1 left in that gun. That's enough to wound him. So we are going to take him off the board. And since there's 4 blips on the board, I do have to roll 4 noise dice. And I've got 2. I'm going to use this one to allow ourselves to forget that one. Actually, you know what? I've got reroll tokens. Let's use the reroll tokens first to reroll these 2. Okay, now I'm going to use that one. Nothing has happened. So no noise is going to happen because of our gunfire. Now, what might happen because of our movement, but we'll see. She's now going to use this to move 2 and gain a stress. So she's going to move 1, 2 down here, hopefully away from those blips as far as she can get. At this point, she's going to use her 3 expertise tokens to drop them onto here. I was going to use them to heal my friend, but she's super dead. I'm going to put these over here. That was 6. We're going to flip our card, giving our 2 more tokens for our, I can remove 3 stress from a person if I wish to. We're going to slide all these into here. Papa's going to go next and hopefully do some awesome things. By awesome things, he is going to get rid of this. I'm going to have to use my catch my breath card to be able to remove that card. It's going to clear this. Now, of course, this is considered an already played action card, so I still only get 2 actions, even though that's played. And I think we're going to use our 3 movement to move 3 spaces and roll noise. We'll move 1, 2, 3 and pick up this with our token, our discipline token, as a fast scavenge. And because we did a catch your breath, I do have to lower my adrenaline by 1. And let's line our cards up a little bit better. There we go. All right. And I get to use this. If I want to, I can heal with this, and I probably am going to do that. Burn gel, which is what this is, allows us to heal 2. I'm going to heal 2 to myself or an adjacent spacer. We're choosing myself. I think it's time to watch another character die. We're going to move into the enemy phase now. There aren't any enemies on the board to activate, so we'll then have to draw our next red card and see what it is. Now, this is sadly going to center over this character here. She's the last one to perform noise. He did not perform any noise on his... Oh, he did perform noise with his move. We got to resolve that first. I have to roll 4 dice for his movement. I apologize. He should have done this for his move. There's 1. I'm going to spend my discipline token to not have that happen. So now it's going to center on him or on Papa instead. Well, let's see what we have here. We have, oh good, this is not as nuts as the last couple. So this one, they're only going to move 1 or 2 or 1 or 1. Oh, that's awesome. Centering on Papa right here. The only thing that everything is in this one, everything is in this quadrant over here, so it's just going to move 1. We're going to move this. Which way do we move it? I think it's going to move to aim towards the person with the noise. These are just going to move down 1, or I could move it sideways. Let's move it sideways. This one's going to move sideways, and this one's going to move down. Perfect. All right. That's fantastic. We got some blips out there that are not as bad as I hope. They're not that bad. All right. That's the end of the intruder phase. We're going to move into our phase by starting by moving our countdown, or our track down 1. And when we do, we're going to resolve not only that blip, but card number 12. Let's do the card first and see what it says. Hopefully it says, thank you so much for playing our game. You have made it out. Let's see what it says. It says, it hides in light. The light is always present now, painting the corridors in blazing white and crushed blacks. Worm-like things slither in and out of the darkness, their knuckles cracking in a language of their own. You are so arrested by the sight of the churning dark, you don't notice doom until it's on top of you. The intruder, known as the Mothman, performs a flash attack against the most stressed out spacer. Place the Mothman adjacent to it and then draw a Mothman AI card 1 and resolve it against that target. Then place the Mothman miniature in the exclamation point at the countdown track. Oh, we got to do this again. Oh no, that's sad, sad, sad. We've seen the miniature. I'm not going to bring it back out. We're just leave it right where it is. There are 2 people with 3 stress and 1 with 2. One of those people with 3 stress does have the noise token, so I'm going to say that that is the person that it's going to attack. We're going to shuffle up our AI 1 cards. Now, one thing I want to mention before I draw this card is I do really like this mechanic. I like the fact that you're seeing potentially the boss that could be part of this area jumping in and going after you, even while you're doing the dungeon crawl itself, but then also getting out. So it's not like you're stuck with this creature on the board that you cannot deal with, but it still jumps out and does something cool. Not only that, you get a glimpse at what this thing can do before you go into the boss battle. Let's see what it does. It is going to lure 2, which means that's going to have each spacer is going to move 2 towards it. Then it's going to target 2 zones. It's going to do nuclear litany. It's going to cause I'm going to roll 2 dice. The Mothman takes aim and fires a concentrated beam of light in a semicircle. If 2+ damage was dealt, you are dazed. All right, so Lure, I think, is going to make these characters each move 2. I'm going to move this one 1, 2, just like that, and this one 1, 2 back this way. I could be not exactly guessing how that works, but from what I understand, it's supposed to move towards the creature that it has caused the lure, and that would be right there. There we go. Actually, it's going to move 1, 2. They're going to kind of, you'd move in a zigzag pattern. Then there is a target in zone 2. I don't know what the zone is. I'm just going to guess adjacent. It's just going to make this attack. Sounds fantastic. Let's see here. The target's already been picked. We're going to blast it. All right. I'm going to get hit with a white and a red. Let's see how this goes. I got hit for 1, 2, 3 points of damage. Awesome. We'll move our counter 1, 2, 3 down, and I am going to now gain the dazed status card that we've seen. It's super fun. Everything is reduced by 1 when it comes to range. The next thing we have to do is resolve that token that is on there, which means another enemy could come on that. Nope, no other enemies. Good. All right, that's fantastic. That's going to help us a little bit, hopefully more than I hope. We need to deal with these 4 blips. I think it might be time. I've got 1 bullet left. I could use my light on that and see what it is and then shoot it. That could be probably my best plan here. I do have to spawn another blip because there's a blip symbol on the black part. So we're going to mix up our tokens up here. We're going to grab one of them and place it in the closest person to here. That's going to be off to the corner down here. We'll place it next to pretty much where Papa is. As you can see, it is right here. Also, I don't have any active tokens right now. Maybe I want somebody else to go first so I can get some tokens into the token pool before this person tries to deal with these things. I think we will. We'll have Papa go first. He's going to move 2 and gain stress. That's fantastic. He can totally do that. We're going to move this up 1. And then doing that, he's going to reveal a new card. That 2 movement is going to put him 1, 2 onto number 7. And we'll look at that card. This one states... radial elevator access. Excitedly, you call the elevator, but the screen flashes red. No, those radial shafts are reinforced. It must be some kind of system error. Before you can initiate an override, you glance at the corridor's C-cam. The elevator doors are lit up like twin suns. Something is burning through the aluminum composite sheets as if they were wood. Door A2 becomes permanently disabled. If you are not already there, if it's not already there, place the Mothman miniature on the thing. Okay, that's fantastic. Then reveal Dark Side of the Sun demo card 14 of the oversized deck. Here's card number 14. We'll flip it over and see what it says. Escape the Dark Furnace. This card replaces the Flashes in the Dark scenario card. Main objective, escape. Well, I've been trying to do that since the start of the game. Extract through the auxiliary strut before you're overwhelmed. Take sticker 3 and affix it to space C3 on location SR2. You can initiate extraction from space D3. See extraction rules for details. When all spacers are extracted or dead, the scenario ends. If at least one spacer extracts, see 2621 in the Mythos book. Otherwise, you have lost. Try the scenario again. Note, reaching the exclamation space on the countdown track does not mean you run out of time. See rules detail. And here it says, the radial elevator has been compromised. There's something inside it, white hot, pitless as the sun it embodies. There's an alternate escape route, a long climb down a ladder through the auxiliary ring strut, taking you through one of the abandoned solar energy batteries. But you need to hurry. The thing is almost through. I placed our sticker on C3. As you can see here, we have our little things to tell us where to put these stickers. And here's, well, this one runs kind of right down here, and this one runs right there. So C3 is that place right there. I kind of had a feeling that might be where it went because I see some kind of door thing here. This is a permanent sticker that I placed out onto the board. The actual crowdfunding, I don't know if they're going to have reusable stickers or if these are going to be permanent. That's something you'll want to ask during the crowdfunding, or you could ask it in the comment section. it, baby, into the unknown, might be able to answer the question, or if I find any info for it, I will let you know. This is our extraction point now, apparently. So close. This person was 1, 2, 3 spaces away. So close to getting there. The other thing is A2 is now permanently disabled. Does that mean that thing stays there? Well, that's going to be bad news. I don't know how he's going to get to the extraction point. He's got to run all the way back around here. That is not happening. He's going to be dead before that happens. I think I might be extracting with 2 guys, maybe 1. We'll see how this goes. I do have some more movement to do with Papa now that we've got the extraction point out there. Now, in order to start the extraction, I have to be on D3. I have to be right there. So we have to get our characters there. We're going to move 2 spaces and cause noise, and then we are going to lower our stress by 2. We're going to do a rationalize action so we can put our adrenaline up for him. So let's move him 2 spaces, roll for some noise, and see what happens. I'm going to move 1, 2 in that direction. I hope that's okay. Hopefully this blip over here doesn't get excited and come and get him. Now, sadly, I am in the black area of the countdown track now. So we are going to be rolling red dice this time to see what happens instead of the white dice, which you like so much better. I got a total of 4, so I have to move 4 of these things. We're going to move these 1 each that way, this one that way, and that one that way as well. Actually, no, I'm going to keep this one here. I'm going to move this one towards him 1 space, totally fine. And now, one thing I want to talk about when we get to well, I'll talk about the extraction when we get there, which is probably going to happen right about now. Our scientist is going to initiate this extraction. That's going to be our plan. She's also going to use her sim thing here. I can spend 1 of my confidence tokens. Oh, I don't have a confidence token. The Papa did not put confidence tokens in there, so she cannot do it. All right, well, that's no good. That's no good at all. We're going to use this to perform a scout action. We're going to try to scout in front of us to see if we can get rid of it. Now, my range is lowered by 1, and our scouting distance is 2. So that means I can only scout 1 space away, which is totally fine because the blip right there. I only get to roll a white dice for this. I did get a success, so we are able to see what this blip is. Oh, it's a bad guy. It's always a bad guy. We'll put a bad guy out there, and I get to do a free attack on him. So I'm going to use my pistol to fire at him. I get to roll 4 white dice. Maybe we can take this guy out. Let's wound this guy. We need to kill him. I got 2 criticals. That's fantastic. We're able to take this guy out, and I can make another attack, but sadly there's nothing else to attack, and I also don't have any ammo. So that's not going to happen. Now, on the flip side, that gun is noisy, so I do have to roll 4 noise dice and see what our blips do. We got, oh my God, astronomical amount. I have 3 I can stop, so I'm going to stop 1 of each of those and 1 of that one. Oh my gosh, it's going to be really bad. I'm going to move this one 1, 2 spaces that way. Oh, it has to go in a zigzag pattern. Oh no, that's no good. I can move this one 1. That can be one of the ones, which is this one. I know there's 2 on there, but remember we used the discipline token on that one, so there's only 1 on that one. I can use this one 1. I can move this one 1, 2 spaces that way. That's going to be this die right here. We'll put this die right there, and we'll put this one here to move it 1 space that way. Even with the discipline token, there we are. Okay, hoofda. Okay, noise is getting really bad right now because of the fact that I'm rolling red dice. I do have an expertise token, but there's nothing for me to use this on, so I am going to put that into our tactical deployment, which might actually save us down the line. And now that I think of it, I'm going to move this one here. I am going to keep 1 of the dice to be a 2. The reason I'm going to do that is I do need a discipline token, and I will show you why. Nope, lied. I don't need a discipline token. I'm sad. All right, I'll just put that guy back there. Totally fine. I am going to do some moving, but it's not going to be for much. Now, because I was able to illuminate that character and I fired with my gun, it does take it to pretty much double the amount of spacer tokens I have, and that's an astronomical amount. So I have, what, 2, 4, 6 of those, 2 of those, and 4 of those in the upcoming pool for somebody. It's going to be super good. Now I'm going to move, and I'm not going to move to do anything too excited here. I am going to, if not preceded or followed by another move, I can do a fast reload. Okay, this one says 2 or reduce my stress by 1. Okay, I think I'm going to move 2 and gain a stress. and then if not preceded or followed. Okay, so I actually have to do it this way. I am only going to move one space. That's totally fine. And that way I can spend the last expertise I have in order to put a bullet back in that gun, which I think is very important. I'm not going to do 3 actions. It does not say you have to do 3 actions, and I'm going to choose not to use my last action card. He can only shed his light 2 spaces, but we have to do that. So we're going to move 2 spaces in that direction and gain a stress using this card right here. Then I will use my illuminate or my scout action. I'm going to use my scout action to see if we can see that token right there. I'll roll up my red die and see what we got. We got a success, so that does mean we get to see it. And it is going to be a bad guy. It's always a bad guy. Okay, here we go. Put the guy right there. And now my gun can attack. I can straight up attack this guy. That's going to be absolutely awesome. It is an adrenaline action. He's at 8 adrenaline. This is pretty much his last thing he's going to be able to do. He's going to fire with his carbine here. It's a heavy, devastating weapon that can go a total of 4 spaces. All right, we're going to use one of our bullets to fire at that guy. I get to roll 2 red dice, and I already have 2 successes, so that's a total of 3. The anatomy threshold for the monsters now have moved to 5. That is still enough to wound him, so he is going to come off the board. Having wounded him, he's off the board, and if it's, remember the wound says, if there is less than 2 grin or blips on the board, immediately spawn a blip. There is not, there are 3 blips out there, so that's it, but there are 3 blips out there. So I have to roll my noise for that gun, which is going to automatically give me 1 noise, and that's another 3 right there. I don't think so. I'm going to use my tokens, 1, 2, and 3, keeping 1 in there. I'm going to remove all the noise, so it's only 1 noise. I'm going to move this 1 space that way. I think that's my best play. Okay, this is going to be, wait a minute. What if I move it this way? No, it has to move. Now it's on a parallel line or on an actual line. I have to move it that way. Okay. That's the end for that. I do have 1 more card I can play for him. He's going to use this card to move 1 space. If not preceded or followed by another move, I can do a fast reload. So I'm going to do that. I've got so many expertise tokens in my pool. I'm going to use one of them to fast reload. Oh, this one can't fast reload. It's a heavy weapon, which can't fast reload. But I still get to move 1 space, and I can still use one of my tokens to an adjacent spacer can perform a fast reload. So we are going to move down 1, and that allows me to give a bullet to my scientist in her pistol. Actually, I lied. I'm going to move straight across. I think that'll be okay. I like it better down here because these things are going to kind of try to get to him. 1, 2, 3. But that's going to get to her. 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3. I'm risking it here. I'm risking it a lot. At the end of our turn, we're going to clean up some of these tokens. I don't need any of these, but these are going to dump onto here. I need 8. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this one is also active, which allows me to move 3, but it does cause a noise. We'll place a token onto that. And then I get to dump a ton of tokens. Now remember, he scouted and then he fired. So he gets to dump 2, 4, 6 of these tokens into the pool. We get to drop 4 of these tokens in, and we also get to drop in 2 of those. So absolutely out of control. Fantastic. Okay, that is the end of his turn. We're going to move into the enemies. Our engineer is, of course, the last one to go. So we'll draw our card. It's a black card now, which I'm sure is going to have absolutely monstrous amount of squigglies all over it. It's going to be bad news city. All right, we've got, not as many as I thought it would have. All right, well, it's only going to move this 1 space up, and then these are only going to move 1 space. All right, they're both just going to slide over 1. That's fantastic. Oh, maybe we can take out these blips before they kill us. That'd be awesome. Now I do have to spawn another blip because of our tracker. We are moving into this area here, which does spawn another blip. So we'll just take one of these blips from up here. How about this one right here? And we'll place it as close to him as we can. And that is going to be right here. There we go. All right, that's the end. It's our turn now. She is no longer dazed, and she's going to use her scout action right away. We're going to see if we can get rid of some of these blips that are standing right next to me. We're going to scout with this. It's going to move up my adrenaline, and that's going to be, that's okay. I need to find a way to get rid. The only way to get rid of adrenaline, from what I can understand, is to use your catch your breath action, which might be what our engineer has to do. All right, we're going to scout. Let's see what we find. We'll roll our white dice, we got ourselves a potential. I do have a couple of these in the pool, so I'm going to flip one of those to the one side, which means it's a success. It is 1, 2 spaces away. We'll flip this token over. What? 3 bad guys? There's 3 bad guys. Oh, I can't deal with 3 bad guys. I don't have the ability to deal with 3 bad guys. Okay, oofta. So one's there, and one's there. 3 bad guys? Really? That is the most vile token I have ever seen. Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to throw that. You know what? I'm just going to take that token and just throw it on the ground. No, I'm kidding. I should throw it on the ground though. That's a horrible token. Oh, well, I get a free attack action. I might as well shoot one of them. With my pistol. Let's see how this goes. I'll shoot that guy. This gun rolls 4 white dice, not the best. I just need 2 criticals. I got 1 critical, but that's not even enough to kill him. I'm gonna spend 2 to re-roll these 2. I've got 3, I need 5. I need 5 to take this guy out. I got it. Oh, I got the 2 criticals. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. I've got 2 criticals on my gun, so that does finish this off, which means I get to make a bonus attack. Now, of course, that bonus attack is gonna cost another bullet, but that's okay. I need to get a total of 5 in order to take the other one out. And I'll just shoot the one that's straight ahead of me. Let's see how we do. I got 1, 2, 3, and I do have another, and I do have a reroll, so I'm going to reroll this one. Let's see what we get. We got 4, and I need 5, so I do have a potential. I'm going to use that as my 5th. So we did get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That takes out another one. We're able to wound 2 of these. We'll take them off the board. But I'm going to guess all good things are about to come to an end because I have to now roll for noise. And I used almost all my tokens taking this guy out. So there is a small set of, you need to kind of think about when to use your things and when not to. And sadly, that gun itself did not come with any extra potentials or anything like that. So I'm also out of ammo. I'm going to roll 1, 2, 3 noise dice because there are 3 blips on the board. Dice, don't fail me now. They failed me really badly. So this one's going to move 1 towards me. This one is going to move 1, 2 towards me. And this one's going to move 1 towards me. All right. That is all we're going to do with the shot. That's the shot heard around the world. That was actually pretty good. Now I'm going to use my move cards. I'm going to use 2 movement and gain a stress. That's going to be my plan. That is going to get me 1, 2 spaces over to here, which is then I can now initiate the extraction by doing a fast scavenge with this token. It is that particular token you have to do in order to do it. Now let's talk about the way this extraction is going to work. Extraction is super loud. The first thing it's going to do is all of the blips are now going to concentrate on the extraction point, not the heroes anymore, or the spacers, I should say. So we need to kind of hold that position the best we can. On top of that, we have to place down tokens onto the extraction point equal to the current number of survivors out on the board. Right now there's 3. At this point, at the beginning of each spacer's turn, we'll remove one of these tokens. When all 3 of them are removed, you do have the ability to move on to that space and extract off the map. The game will, or this particular adventure mission extraction point thing will stop and end as soon as either A, everybody's dead, or B, at least 1 spacer is able to get to the extraction point and get out. That is now our plan. And we have a bad guy here, a blip here, and a couple blips over here that all want to kill us. Kill us real good. She does have 1 card left. I'm going to use the move 1 space to kind of get away from there because that's the way the blips are going to go. So maybe I can have them come in here and I can see what they are and just start shooting them, even though she has no bullets in her gun. She needs to get some bullets in her gun. Before we move into Papa's turn, which is going to be our next person, I did notice I missed a keyword on this gun. There's a ton of them. One of them is linear. It can only shoot. It can't shoot. You can't count a diagonal spaces, zigzag spaces. So in order for me to shoot those enemies, I would have had to done this in a little bit different order. I would have had to have moved 1 first to this spot. Then I could have done my look and shoot, which is what I'm going to do, which means that there would still be a bad guy in that position because I would have had to linearly shoot our 2 enemies. I hope that makes sense. And then I would have moved 2 spaces using the scavenge as I walk past it to move over into that location. I did not catch that was a linear gun, but linear is a keyword on some of the guns, meaning they can only shoot in a straight line. Now it's Papa's turn. He is going to turn and try to illuminate this area. He's going to use his light to scout. He's going to use his scout action. Let's see how that goes for him. That went fantastic. We'll flip over the blip. One bad guy. And the bad guy I'm just going to put right here. I'm going to shoot that bad guy. I'm going to shoot the bad guy with this gun. I'm going to shoot him with this gun right here. I'm going to hit him with 3 of those red dice. Let's see how those 3 red dice go. I'm sure they're going to go fantastic. Let's grab them here. Let's roll them right here and see how it does. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, and I have an astronomical amount of tokens in here from my scientist. Let's see how many I've got. I've got 2 rerolls, and I've got 4 of these. So I'm going to turn. I can only turn one of these potentials into a success, giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes. This is wounded. There are still 2 or more blips on the board. So again, we still do not spawn anything. He is then going to run for his life. He'll use that bullet, so that's done. And then he's going to move 2 spaces, move 3 spaces. This has already been used, and he flipped it to attack with it. I'm going to move 3 spaces, then 2 spaces. Then, I also get an adrenaline because I made my adrenaline action. I'm 3 spaces, 2 spaces. If preceded by another walk, gain 1 stress for +1 your melee attacks. I haven't done any melee attacks. Probably should start doing melee attacks. They probably don't cause any noise. They don't cause noise. Most of the time your melee attacks don't cause noise. As you can tell by this gun right here, it's noiseless. That's probably what I should have been using sometimes, so these blips don't go all over the place and kill me. There you go. I think we're going to go 3, 2, and then I'm actually going to use this card right here to move 3 spaces and cause noise again. So there's going to be noise everywhere, and it's going to be a noise city here. He's going to move 1, 2, 3 to right there. Roll for noise. I've got 2 out there. We'll roll it right here best we can. We got none. We got none. That's awesome. Then he's going to move 1, 2. He's going to roll his noise again. I got 3. That's okay. I've got 3 potentials. I'm going to cancel all of it. I'm going to cancel all of it. Then we're going to move 1, 2, 3 with our card. Oh, I can't see it. Sorry, our guy got off the screen. He's running so fast. We're going to roll 2 more up here and see what we get. Oh, no, we got 5. 5 is bad. I could re-roll 2 dice. I'm going to use that to re-roll 2 dice. That's fantastic. We'll re-roll these, and I got a 3 again. All right, that's not going to be good. 1, 2. This one's going to use all 3 of them. It's going to assign the die. It's going to go 1, 2 to right here. Once it's there, we're going to flip it over. Oh, it's a bad guy. I'm guessing this is how it works. When it reaches the extraction point, you're going to reveal the token. That's my guess as to how that works, because they go towards the extraction point at this time, not towards the humans. That is the end of his turn. This card does get flipped over, but interestingly enough, I've got 2, 4, 6 of this that I am going to put onto that card, giving me the ability to maybe use that again in the very near future here. One thing I forgot to do was give this character 1 stress, because he did attack an enemy that was adjacent to him, and that is a special thing that the Grin have. It's their terrifying ability. We'll move into our engineer's turn. He is going to go next, and I have a plan, kind of. There's a blip right here. I don't know what that blip is, but I don't want it anywhere near me. I'm going to move 2 spaces first and gain a stress. So we're going to do that first. I'm going to move 1, 2 to right here. Then I'm going to shoot at one of these guys. Which one do I shoot? I only have 1 bullet. I wish I had more bullets than 1. I think what we're going to do is we are going to attack this one right here. I'm going to shoot that one because these guys are coming around, so hopefully they can come around and we can just kind of mop up anything coming from that direction. Another thing I have to do is remove 1, 2 of these tokens, 1 from my security officer and 1 from my engineer at the start of their turn. We do get 3 dice when attacking with this gun because we've got more than 5 adrenaline on this character. Let's roll these up. I have an astronomical amount of hits. Okay, actually don't have an astronomical amount. That's just enough to wound this guy. So we're going to take him off the board. And there is still, again, more than 2 blips or Grin on the board. 2 or more blips and Grin on the board. As seen here, it does say the corridor fills with cracking. If there is less than 2 Grin or blips on the board, immediately spawn a blip. And as you can see by the board, we do have 1, 2 out here. So we have 2 or more. That is the end. He does have to take 1 stress. And that is because he attacked a grin that was adjacent to him. He also has to gain 1 adrenaline. And I may have misled you when I said that he can't take any more. He can take 1 more. He cannot gain more than 9 adrenaline. So this thing can't go off the board or he has a heart attack. So at this point, he's pretty much done for this adventure when it comes to being able to perform any of these red actions, unless I can find a way to catch my breath. So not having any ammo is not the end of the world. I am now going to move 1 more space, which will put me right here. Then I'm going to spend 1 of my expertise tokens and flip it over so that a person that is adjacent to me can fast reload. And that is going to be my scientist. I'm going to have a fast reload for my scientist to be able to put a bullet back into her pistol. Sadly, that is the end of my turn. I wish I had another character on my team, maybe to shoot the last grin, but no, we don't. So instead, the grin are going to activate. And this time, this is the first time I think they're actually activating without being spawned in attacking me. So we're going to check all the steps here. First thing we're going to check to is the target adjacent. No, it is not. Scuttling bite. If the target is in movement range, the grin thing leaps to you frantically and bites you in the shoulder. I'm going to roll 2 red dice. And if 6+ damage was dealt, gain the Grift Special Condition card. The movement for our grin at this particular time is 4, and the closest spacer will be this character. But before we do that, I did forget to roll for noise, so we do have to roll our noise roll and see what we got. We've got nothing. So that means that the only blip on the board does not move towards us. But this is going to move towards the closest spacer. So he's going to move 1, 2, 3 over to here and attack. Hoofda. All right, he's going to roll up 2 red dice. Hopefully it doesn't do too much damage. It did 4 damage to him. Interestingly enough, that's going to put him 1, 2, 3, 4 in the same space as his stress. Now, sadly, I totally forgot. I could have at one point at least recovered 3 stress on him if I wished to. Totally forgot about that. So he's going to have to suffer now a stress breakdown. So we're going to draw our stress breakdown card and see what we got. We have amnesia. Until the end of your turn, you cannot use abilities or analysis. At the start of your next turn, turn this card upside down until the end of the extraction. You gain the snap out of it effect. So we would gain this effect. You may move 1 token from the active pool to the incoming pool. That's kind of cool. But for now, he's got amnesia. We are now going to draw our black blip card and see what has happened to our characters here. Oh, again, not too bad. All right, this is going to be centered over our engineer because he's the last person to have made noise. And the blip that is behind here is going to move 1 this way because it's in the lower quadrant. All right, that's all the blip's going to do. This door is kind of going to go back on there. There we go. And it's our turn. And at the start, we will move this token down 1 and we'll place out another blip closest to the engineer. And that is going to be right up here. This blip is the closest to the engineer. My scientist is going to have to attack that person because we can't use any more adrenaline actions with our engineer until after he gets some cooldown or the ability to remove his adrenaline through catch his breath. But for now, we're going to move 1. We're going to move 1 space up here because I have to be linear in order to get this guy. He has to be fired. I have to fire at him from a linear direction based on my pistol. It's a linear pistol with discipline 1. Empty clip. I can deplete my entire clip to give myself 1 more, give myself an extra success. One thing I want to do though before I move is I'm going to spend 1 of my expertise tokens to heal Isaac 2 health, bringing him back up to 7. And at this point now, we'll make our shot with our gun. That will move our adrenaline up to 8, so we're also getting too close for comfort on that as well. I'm going to discard my bullet and make my attack. This particular pistol gives us the 4 white dice because I'm above the 5 threshold there. I got 1, 2, I got only 2. That's no good. I'm going to use 2 reroll tokens that I have from the pool to reroll these 2 dice. Come on, we need a good roll. I only got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I think this is going to be enough, but just barely. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I do have 1 4 of these for a success. So we got a total of 5, which is enough to take him out. Now, if I had not taken him out, he would have gained a suppression token because this gun does do 1 suppression, which means I would have placed that next to him. The reason I'm talking about this is I don't think I'm going to be shooting too much more because I don't have any bullets in any guns. The suppression then would lower his movement. It would lower his anatomy threshold by 1, so it makes it a little bit easier to hit things. So there is something that happens if you're not able to fully take out an enemy. I am going to gain 1 stress because I attacked him that was when he was adjacent to me. And at this point, we're going to use, I think, do I have a 3 move left? I do. I've got a 3 move and we roll for noise. That's fantastic. We're going to move 3 and roll for noise. This is removed, which means the extraction is available. So she's gonna move 1, 2, 3 into here, and she has made it out. I'm gonna place this into my pool here, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, which means this is now active again, which gives us the ability to move 3 spaces, but it is going to make us perform a noise roll, and it has 1 charge, so we'll place that down. I did forget I have to make a noise roll after shooting that gun because that gun did a lot. It only is 1. That's totally fine. I'm going to move 1 down from the top. Our science officer has also dumped all those tokens into the pool with her adrenaline action for shooting. These are going to be key coming up soon, because I'm going to use Papa next, and Papa needs to get to that exit as fast as he can. So we're going to use the move 3 speed. We're also going to use the move 2 and gain a stress. Where's that one? Move 2 and, oh no, I only have plus move 2 and make noise. And then we're also going to use the move 3 card to make noise. So we've got 3 noise rolls coming out of this. We'll start by moving 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I have to make a noise roll. There are 2 blips out on the board. We'll roll these up. Nothing, we got nothing, that's awesome. Then I'm going to use the card at this point to move 3, 1, 2, 3 to right there. We'll roll again. Okay, come on, here we go. Let's get this. Okay, oh, a lot of them. Okay, I think I'm going to use my reroll token on that die so we can reroll this one, hopefully get less potential. 1 potential, that's fantastic. I'm going to use my token to make that nothing. Then I'm going to use the move 1 space. He's going to move 1 space and not produce any noise. Now at this point, I'm going to gain 2 stress, and I'm going to flip this card over. This card is no longer there, and I am going to exert. I'm going to exert myself so that I can flip one of these cards to do another action. I'm going to do a 2-space move and gain a stress, which is also going to give us a stress breakdown. But I do believe no matter what this card says, I'm still going to be able to move first. This one does say violence at the start of your next turn. Gain 2 adrenaline. During this turn, you cannot use expertise tokens or analysis abilities. During this turn, you can only move towards the closest target in range via the shortest path possible. Then you can perform an attack against them as normal. At the end of your turn, you'll flip this card and snap out of it. And it'll immediately lower your stress and increase your health by X, where X is your adrenaline. Oh my gosh, that's really good. So you can heal yourself, but of course you ran right at the bad guy. I'm going to flip a 2-space moving card to this one. Wait, this is the one I think that moves 2 spaces, right? Move 2 spaces and perform a noise roll. He's going to move 1, 2, and once you get on the extraction, you are removed from the game. I do still have to produce a noise roll. When I did that, let's roll up these dice. I got 3, and I only have 1 more potential, so I'm going to knock out this dice completely, meaning I'm going to assign this die up here, and this die thing's going to move 1, 2, just like that. You can't really see, it's kind of off screen, I apologize, but it's not going to get me because the next turn I'm now just going to move with my next guy. He's going to move 1 and get on here, and our engineer has also made it out. Oh, we made it! I can't believe it. This is so much fun. That was an absolutely epic intro to this game. I'm excited to see what else there is in store, but first we have to see what happens to us on this amazing roller coaster of a ride. We found ourselves at the temple. It says here, as soon as the auxiliary ring strut hatch opens, a dark bottomless shaft. You dive in, almost head first. Hands slip on the slick bars of the emergency ladder, and more than once, one of you loses their footing and falls down. Saved only by the safety carabiner behind you, the solar ring corridor is filled with magnificent, terrible light. The most frightening thing is, you yearn to bask in that light. And by denying yourselves this baptism, you feel disgust and shame. What is happening with you? As you descend, you find withered, charcoal remains of what you can only guess are those black worms with wide teeth. The luminous creature has cauterized the entire ring. None were spared. You stop mid-strut. In a service room, one of you checks the maintenance console, skims the logs. Most have been, is that right? Most have been scrubbed? Those that remain tell of a strange phenomenon, a solar battery 5, the one connected to the auxiliary strut you're traversing. Reports of strange lights, increased power input and output, and heightened radiation. It starts to interfere with the ring's manifold field. A crew was sent to fix the malfunction before the ring would collapse. The last log mentions a flying creature with eyes of molten gold. So that is what happened. The maintenance crew got cut off from the ship's main deck, trapped between the solar ring and the creature's what? Lair? Hatchery? Whatever it turned the battery into. And they went there, one by one, drawn by the irresistible incandescence of the foxen. You feel the urge too. Maybe it did not escape the solar ring. Maybe you were headed here. At this point, in the full game, you would end up in a special downtime area where you can convert your engrams into location-specific resources, hone your abilities, weaponize your new knowledge, develop technologies, try to piece together alien lore, craft new weapons and gear, and even new suits, as well as customize your loadout, which all sounds super, super awesome. I'm excited for all the different ways that you could advance in this game. I love the fact that I like the idea of piecing together lore from the aliens, so you can maybe become better at fighting these certain aliens, or even getting better weapons and gear that's fantastic, or new knowledge about the place. From what I understand, if you're able to gain enough knowledge and lore of the ship or the creatures or something, it might open new areas on the ship that wouldn't have been accessible before, which is why they're kind of considering this game having a sandbox type feel to it in certain situations, because you can move around the ship in different areas and even come back to places you've been so you can get to other areas in the future. In this limited demo scenario, you simply open the envelope, the temple, and gain access to all those things in bold letters, which all look pretty good. And so, as well as radiation therapy protocol stratagem card. Sweetness. And then it says here, after a short tense respite, you make up your minds. Maybe you were lured here, and maybe you will die. However, if the readings from the battery 5 continue to spike, the solar ring's manifold will collapse and you will die all the same. You'd rather die fighting. You ready for a confrontation with Mothman? Draw the Dark Side of the Sun scenario card 15 to continue. So at this point, we'll draw the card. I will open that envelope in just a second. Let's see what our card says. It says, The Temple. Set up location book 2 on page 3 and location book 1 on page 4 and connect them. Follow the like moths to a flame boss setup and then begin. And of course, we'll be doing this in the next video. So let's take a look at all the cool things we got. Here's the temple envelope. We'll open this up and see what is inside. I'm excited to see all these cool things. Now, normally we'd be able to craft things. We'd have a whole deck of things we could work with, potential new knowledges we could learn. For example, we might have to spend certain things to learn this knowledge, but we have this one now, radiation therapy protocol. I need 6 to activate that. So we'll put that to the side. That can be a stratagem we can learn. We have a whole bunch of new stuff. Oh, look at this. We got contraband plating. If 6+ damage was dealt after resolving it, I discard this card, but it looks like I give myself, I'm going to guess probably 1 armor, I'm going to guess is what these are going to do. And I've got 2 of those. I've got a laser pistol. This laser pistol has 4 range. It is linear. Discipline 2 and discharge. Those are a few things I'm not sure what discharge is. I will have to take a look before our next playthrough. It does roll 3 white unless I have 7. Then it rolls an extra red die, and it does give me a discipline ability to use when firing the gun. We have a laser welder. I can weld a door. Also, I have a new light source that goes 3 spaces. This is a focused headlamp. It goes 3 spaces. and this was the laser welder. All right, well, fantastic. I mean, which was a laser cutter. I mean, after all, the guy from Dead Space used a laser cutter real good. So those are some new items and equipment we can have for our characters. I'll bet you have to equip this. So this is going to have to be equipped on our character, which would mean we wouldn't be able to use any of the other things we have, like the hack tool or the suppressor grenade and things of that nature. So some new things for us to get and use in our next video. There you have it. That was the first mission for Enormity. This is the prototype playthrough from Into the Unknown. Again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to showcase this game. In the next video, I am going to be going into the lion's den, I guess you could say. I'm going to go slay the Mothman. That is going to be, I'm going to be going a moth to flame or whatever. It's going to be awesome. We're going to take this guy on. I can hardly wait to see how that works. If you're excited to see that, please let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you're interested in knowing more about this game, please check out the link to the crowdfunding. It is in the description of this video as well. It goes live December 3rd. If you like what you see here, please go check it out. Also, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Or, of course, you can message Into the Unknown, or during the crowdfunding, you can ask them in the questions and answer area as well. This is absolutely awesome. I love a dungeon crawler that has things happening in it with these different tokens. That really excites me. I like the fact that this was tense, and it really was tense the whole time. I kind of think I went a little slow because here it really revved up, and that was super cool. So much for the fact I didn't even get in this room because I was afraid I wasn't going to make it out. These blips are no joke. Once they get going and they start mobbing you, it's bad news city for your entire team. I like the fact that you have that objective, but it could change as the game goes on. And of course, this is only the first mission. I can hardly wait to see what other enemies, other missions they have, and other bosses are going to be part of this game. On top of that, who doesn't like being able to upgrade your characters? And it sounds like there's going to be multiple ways to do that, which is going to be super cool. So again, please check out the crowdfunding on December 3rd if you're interested in a game like this. And this is right up my alley. I have no reason not to back this game. This is super cool. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy the playthrough. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when more content comes out. And I will be diving into a boss battle with the Mothman. That is my plan. Also, if you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out the link to the Patreon. It's located in the description of this video as well. If you join the Patreon, some of the perks you're going to be able to receive is you can watch Colin and my playthroughs usually about a day or two ahead of time without commercial interruptions. On top of that, when it comes to moving on in campaign games or even starting them, we like to give our Patreon supporters a chance at deciding how we progress with our characters. So for this particular one, I'll ask people how you think I should equip some of the new items that we got for our characters. Also, when it comes to games to play, we sometimes put polls on our Patreon to help people decide what games we're going to play in the future as well. It gives my Patreon supporters a chance to interact with the games that Colin and I play. So there you have it. That was Dark Side of the Sun, the first mission in Enormity from Into the Unknown Studios. If you're excited to see more of this or anything else that Colin and I have coming up, then I need you to meet me at the table.